comic books to TV shows and all things loved by nerds. We'll share just how we rate them, from our favorites to the worst. Poking fun at toxic fandom, so we'll kick this into gear and see what's on the list today. Let's discuss some toxic tears.
Tell me how you're feeling. And we'd go, fantastic, terrific, great, oh yeah, strong juice, baby sucker, I feel wonderful, right on, right on, right on, juice, 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 juice. I feel great, ooh, wah, wah, let's kick some ass. Who's number one? We are. Who's number two? Who gives a fuck?
All right, guys, welcome to Toxic Tears. Episode 2, we'll be reviewing the best horror dos amigos. We're gonna be it's about all the Spanish I know. We're gonna be reviewing the top the top horror films of 1981, which was a better year than 1980 from what we saw. But make sure you like, subscribe, and follow all our channels on our channel board. And we are glad to have you today. So joining me in the cockpit today is a man who needs no introduction, Rob Cochran.
Hey, also known as the Camp Killer. If you need a professional Jason cos performer for a birthday party, event, or Comic-Con, I'm your man. I do part 2 Jason, part 3 Jason, and 8-bit Jason. Just shoot me a message either on Facebook or Instagram at The Camp Killer. That's at The Camp Killer. Thanks.
There it is on the screen, last minute. Rob Cochran's been a very good friend of mine. We love doing this kind of stuff.
Ride or die.
Yeah. So we got, now there were 79 horror films released in 1981. That's exactly the same amount that was in 1980.
Yeah. That's funny.
We got some great notes. I've got some cool tidbits for you guys. We're doing this all live, remember that. Wearing my Be On Hero Productions t-shirt. So we are ready to rock and roll. Yeah, your 80s t-shirt. Rob was much more appropriately dressed than I was. Anyway, guys, remember, we want you to respond in the comments. Challenge us. Push us. The only thing we ask is, don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
If you don't know what a dick is, take biology. Means don't act like a jerk. If you don't know how not to be a dick, you should not be commenting at all. And you will be blocked and thrown out of the room. I don't care how you feel about that. That's the way we roll.
That's the way we roll.
All right. So let's talk about our tier descriptions. Pow! Look at that, Rob.
Look at that. The GOAT.
The GOAT. So S is the GOAT. That means this movie is iconic. It is well made. It has set the standard. It is one of those films that you have to see if you are a true horror fan. A is good, not great. That just means it didn't make the GOAT status, but it's still an amazing film. C means it's watchable. It might be iconic. It might be cool. It might be a trendsetter, but it may not be a GOAT. So, and again, feel free to challenge us on all of these things. Hello, Lori Berger. Thank you for joining us. F is so bad it might be good. And Z is what the fuck were they thinking? So we've got a great round of horror films to look at. I'm actually really excited about this round. Much better than 1980, Rob.
Oh, it's a lot better than 1980.
And just so you know, here are some of the great review sites, much better than us, far better than us. Fanboy Flicks, these are all on YouTube. Minty Comedic Arts, amazing. The Australia Guide, phenomenal. Bad Movie Bible has a tremendous selection of collections of different movies. They highlight films that were knockoffs or spin-offs of movies like Aliens, Alien, Terminator, James Bond. Brendan Tenold is one of the funniest ones out there. I love Brandon. He's fantastic. Good. Dead Meat, that's if you want your kill counts. If you want a real quick of how many kills. And then I just found the Horror Geek, who is very funny. And let me tell you something. If you can't find any of these movies on these sites, you're not going to find them. And a lot of these are very obscure. So we picked the top, I think 17, 18, Rob? 18 that we thought, based on box office, based on recognizability. Is that a real word?
Sure, why not?
We'll make it a word today.
Why not?
Recognizability. I recommend going to IMDb and checking out all of these amazing movies, because there's a bunch on there that you may go, hey, I want to see that. But we're going to go over the top 18. So let me take that off. So you excited, Rob?
I'm very excited.
I am so excited. So we had a problem last time. We played the friggin' trailers too loud, so you couldn't hear us. So we had to fix that in the replay.
And we can't have you not hearing us.
And we don't want to get copyright strike. So is Happy Birthday to Me. This was released in 1981. By the way, Rob, guess what I added?
What did you add?
Box office and budget.
Oh, good.
So I thought that'd be fun.
That tells you
so this was made for $3.5 million. It's our first. There's like at least two Canadian films in this countdown. I think this is the first.
3.5 million in 81 was a nice little chunk of money.
I need to do a comparison. Yeah. That's the next thing. And it made a total of 10.6 million. It was a modest hit. Back then, that was not bad. I mean, $7 million was not bad. So let's take a look at the trailer. And if all goes well, it will literally pop up as soon as I hit this. But as we know,
that's not always the way it works.
Here we go.
There we go.
Okay. So the one thing I will tell you, that the poster you saw, that happens in the film, but not like that. That's a different actor. I have no idea why they did that. Also, a couple quick things. The killer reveal at the end was a last-minute change. So this film, Rob, also, that was Mary Ingalls.
Mary Ingalls.
This film, see, I'm doing again.
You are. Stop it.
This film is actually pretty good. It's got some great kills. It's actually got some fairly fleshed out characters. I think the lead actress who played Mary Ingalls in Little House on the Prairie, I think she did a phenomenal job. This was her first movie outside of Little House on the Prairie.
It was.
A lot of controversy because...
she played such a wholesome
character. Director J. Lee Thompson had serious film cred. He had done The Guns of Navarone before that. Real medical experiments did inspire the plot. And it is one of the first slasher flicks with birthday cake and brain surgery, whatever that means.
Okay.
Anyway. So I want to talk about a couple things about this film, because there's some really cool facts about this film that you may not know. Like I said before, the director had directed The Guns of Navarone. So this is a guy who directed what is considered by most as an amazing film classic.
Yes.
Directed this. Happy Birthday to Me.
Huge contrast there.
However, I will tell you, if you compare it to other horror films, you can definitely see the prowess of this director in comparison to other horror films, because it is very well done.
Yes.
It is very, very well done. I also believe, and as you guys know, the actress who was in it was Mary Ingalls, played Mary Ingalls on the show Little House on the Prairie that ran for 10 years.
10 years.
And she was on it for all 10 years. This was her first film outside of it. And I have a feeling, much like most of the Disney stars, that she was trying to break the good girl mold, which she does in the film. Also starring in this was Glenn Ford. And for those of you Gen Z, maybe millennial, who don't know who Glenn Ford is, he is one of the most recognized Western actors.
Huge Western actor.
Classically trained, phenomenal actor. And I'm going to tell you, Rob, he's great in this.
He's good.
He's creepy. He does a fantastic job. This is the same that happened with the 80 films where we had, what was the guy's name who was from Motel Hell?
Oh, Rory Calhoun.
And then
huge Western
the gentleman in
star,
Alligator, I can't think of his name now. Those actors gave 110%. And Ford does the same thing here. So it is a tremendous movie. The kill count includes one sweet Trans Am. I got really pissed off at that.
The sweet Trans
They wrecked a Trans Am.
Am.
And that stunt was done in real time. A Trans Am jumps a bridge, an opening bridge, and lands.
Very cool.
And that was a real stunt. I think this inspired Scream. Just the way the kills happen.
That's an interesting take.
And just the feel of it. So it's a great film. It has a very bizarre ending. So this is where the film has a terrible ending and a great ending at the same time. So spoiler alert! I gotta get this. Let me get the spoiler. I gotta get the spoiler logo up. Spoiler alert! Hey, Brandy. Spoiler alert! What happens is the main star's mom dies. They crash into the river. She drowns. And so for some reason, she goes into these medical experiments with the doctor played by Glenn Ford. And as it progresses, she keeps visiting this doctor because she has these blackouts when the kills happen. So you're going, oh, it must be her. And they throw a couple of small red herrings, but you pretty much think it's her. So as you go on, if you're a seasoned horror fan, you're thinking, the mom possessed her.
The mom.
It's got to be the mom. And you find out the whole reason it's happened is because this girl had this party. Nobody showed up to her party. They all went to the rich girl's party instead. You find out her mom was the mistress of the rich girl's dad. And so basically the killer is killing all the people who didn't show up for the party. At the end, we see a birthday party scene. All the bodies are placed on a table. It's an amazing scene, practical effects wise. A lot of great practical effects in this movie. The shish kebab scene, Rob, is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. There's one scene where a guy gets killed on his weight bench, and this is where you can tell it's a veteran director. The pacing of each kill is perfect. It's not too long. It's not too short. There's a little bit too much filler in this, which I was expecting from someone who hasn't done horror before. But the kills are paced perfectly. And so all of a sudden she walks in and you're like, oh my God, she didn't kill them. But then guess what? A second Mary Ingalls appears. What? She rips off her mask, Tom Cruise, Mission Impossible 1 style, and it's her bastard sister, who is also the daughter of the rich guy who wanted to set her up.
Oh, what a
dumb as fuck. However, real Mary Ingalls kills fake Mary Ingalls, and just as she dies, the cops walk in, and there's Mary Ingalls holding the knife. So she's going to be accused of murder. Dumb ending, but quite creative. They put that ending at the end. It was at the last minute. The ending at the end.
What's that?
It was the last minute.
Where it goes.
It was the last minute.
Podcast monkey.
So, so you could tell that. Because I think I believe, Rob, they were going to do with the mom possessing her, and they said,
change their minds.
Everyone's going to figure that out. Let's do Tom Cruise before that happened. Mission Impossible. So that's probably where Tom Cruise got the idea for Mission Impossible, ripping the mask off. Anyway, so. With that said, Rob, I want to give this an S, but the ending, I can't do it, brother. I just can't. It's not the GOAT for. Yeah, it's not a GOAT, but it is definitely for me one of the better horror movies of the 80s. The directing, the acting was good. The characters, again, you're not going to get a lot of character development into most of these movies. it's going to range from straight superficial to maybe slightly two-dimensional. You very rarely get three-dimensional characters.
Mm-hmm.
But this one does pretty good. I really did like the actress who played Mary Ingalls in this. She was very good. So it was good casting. So I'm going to give it a. What do you think, Rob?
I agree with you.
Okay.
Definitely not a goat.
No.
I'll think between A and C, but A, I'll go with A.
Not a goat. Not a goat at all. Not a goat at all. So, good movie, though. I definitely recommend it highly. I think you should see it. I think everyone should see it because I think you'll be very happy with the film. So, that's Happy Birthday to Me. Our next film is from David Cronenberg, and it is Scanners.
Scanners. This movie scared the crap out of me when I was a kid.
The trailer did, so I never saw it when I was a kid. I literally saw this film for the first time in completion this week, in all honesty.
There's just something about looking at somebody blowing their head up. I don't know. It's just...
This is... Cronenberg has, in all of his films, has body horror, as we know, but also has some sort of socio-political undertow to it. This does. And it's got Michael Ironside in it.
Great actor.
Who is absolutely fantastic. He was in Starship Troopers, Total Recall. He was the bad guy.
Always plays that real tough guy or the real bad guy.
You see him in Top Gun.
Tough as nails.
And for those of you who don't know, he plays in Nobody as the father-in-law. So if you didn't know that, there you go.
Nobody?
Yeah, he's in Nobody. He plays the father-in-law.
That's right, he does, doesn't he?
Yeah. You would not recognize him right off the bat. Cronenberg, and I just put up the movies that he had. There's only one movie here that I think is outside of the 1980s. But he did The Fly, Videodrome, The Brood, Dead Ringers, and Dead Zone, which is one of my favorite Stephen King movies. He also did History of Violence, which I do want to see. That's got Viggo Mortensen in it. For those of you guys who don't know, it's Aragorn from Lord of the Rings. The Fly is absolutely amazing.
Oh, that's a well. I guess we won't get to that one, but that's definitely a goat.
I think it's in the 80s.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, all these are 80s.
The Fly is definitely a goat.
History of Violence. Yeah. I haven't seen The Brood. I've seen Dead Ringers, which is kind of that plastic surgery body horror. Dead Zone is not body horror. I don't know. It's interesting that. You don't remember that segment on Sesame Street? One of these things doesn't belong here. That would be the Dead Zone, and the Dead Zone is so well edited, so well directed, so well acted. I think outside The Shining, it's the best Stephen King film ever made.
Yeah. Great book and great movie.
Absolutely. And I didn't like to see Anthony Michael Hall played the Christopher Walken character in the TV series. I didn't like the TV series. They drew it out too long, but the film was really good. Yeah. I wish they made a prequel about the one subplot about the killer.
That would be a good.
That would be cool. Got some great people. We will be reviewing that. I love that movie. Videodrome is bizarre.
Never seen
I
it.
did see that. I watched Scanners and Videodrome back to back. Big mistake.
Huh.
I think, I'm trying to remember who's in that. I think Woods is in that. No, it's not. Is it James Woods in Scanners? It might be. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think he's in Scanners. But it's a very weird film. It's a very weird film. One thing I will tell you, in a lot of Cronenberg's films, he overcomplicates. Like The Fly is not like that. The Dead Zone is, but it works.
It does.
But Videodrome and Scanners, very convoluted. You got to follow it closely. It's not a horror film that you can turn off your brain. It's not what I call a popcorn horror film. You got to watch it. A great ending, by the way. So let's take a look at Scanners.
Scanner.
This is rated R because it does have nudity, but it's mostly for the. This is a very violent movie. And it's not violent like slasher violent. It's violent like gunfire.
Heads exploding.
Yeah. Oh yeah. By the way, I'm glad you said that. That this scene with the head exploding was done with a shotgun.
Didn't know that.
They filled the dummy head with all the goo, and they shot it with a shotgun to make it look like that. So that was, and it was done on set. Yeah, they shot it by firing a shotgun loaded with rock salt had a prosthetic head filled with latex, gelatin, fake blood, and leftover burgers. It was done in one take.
Leftover burgers? I like that.
And it became one of the most famous gore effects in cinema history.
Fun fact, I've been shot with rock salt.
Ouch.
Child.
I heard that hurts. And
Went to the wrong backyard as a child. But anyway, I digress.
This was like a Marvel film. The script was written while they were shooting. This launched, as we said before, Michael Ironside's career. And so it was shot largely in Montreal. It's our second Canadian film that we have. The scanner sound was made using I'm going to see if I can say this right, encephalogram. EEG.
Electroencephalogram.
Thank you. And so that's where you get the sound, the eerie scanner sound that happens when he's doing what he's doing right now. And Cronenberg was really nearly replaced mid-film because the set was so chaotic. But this is not really the trailer. I think that was one shot.
One shot.
Yeah. I don't know if this trailer went out except like on home video, because I cannot imagine that trailer being
playing on
1980s
no.
TV. It's 103 minutes. Its budget was $4.1 million, and it grossed $14.2 million.
That's huge back then.
Yeah, big time. There was a film that Cronenberg turned down to make this film. Do you want to know what it was, Rob?
I do want to know what it is. I can't even guess. Oh, wow. Are you serious?
He turned down.
No.
So, had it not been for Scanners,
No
folks,
way.
Return of the Jedi would have been directed by David Cronenberg. I don't even want to know what the Ewoks would have looked like. That's
what a completely different movie that would have been. 1,000%.
Right? 100%. 100%. Of course,
Luke would have been exploding heads with the Force.
There'd been a lot more violence. It would have been a lot. It would not have been the cutesy toy movie that we saw. Very much so. It also the infamous head blowing up shot has seen new life as a meme, which we've all seen some meme involving that. This film did spawn multiple sequels, including a television series, I think, which literally have nothing to do with the first film. And none of them were directed by Cronenberg. I cannot recommend any of the sequels. They're all bad.
All bad.
Very, very bad. So, but as far as... this one's hard, Rob, because no one had done this before.
No one.
Cronenberg is a genius. It is a little long in the tooth, but man, Rob, the sound effects, the special effects, the ending where he goes head to head. This is where the scene that you see the poster is actually in the ending. Spoiler alert. And the ending where he possesses the bad guy's body after he's destroyed was really cool.
Very cool.
I don't know, Rob.
It sounds like to me like you're pushing for the goat.
I'm pushing for a goat, so talk me out of it.
I can't really talk you out of it. I'm not.
Think it's a goat?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's when in his time it was just just like you said, nobody had done it. It was just over the top. Yeah, I agree with that.
And the
the movie kind of movie it was, yes.
And I'll tell you why I think it's the go-to, Rob. This is why somebody with OCD should do this, as I said before. If you compare this to the film that followed, Videodrome, two different films. Acting quality, production quality, everything. This is one of his best films.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to say the best, because you're fighting against The Fly.
You cannot. It's not better than The Fly.
And Dead Zone. But definitely an amazing film.
Yes.
So,
quite.
By the way, the makeup and practical effects team, I want to show you this, Rob, was... Gary Zeller, who invented Zell Gel. You guys want to Google that. Academy Award-winning Stephen Dupuis and Chris Wallace, who went on to direct The Fly 2.
Wow.
So here are the movies these men were involved with.
Wow. It's an impressive resume.
Dawn of the Dead, Raiders of the Lost Ark, The Last Crusade. Again, I have one that's kind of out of place, which is I Am Legend, I think, Enemy Mine. I'm not sure if that was 80s, which is a boring film but amazing effects.
Mm-hmm.
Fly 1 and Fly 2, I actually like the Fly 2. It's one of my guilty pleasures. And RoboCop, which is the GOAT.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's the makeup. And the makeup, the practical effects, and the set design team of Scanners has to be the GOAT.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
literally,
yes.
You cannot get a lineup like that and not be the GOAT.
No, you can't.
Again, guys, don't forget, challenge us in the comments if you think that we're off mark. Because this is Toxic Tears we're talking about. By the way, we are going to do, I wish we had done this in our first episode, we are going to do a episode where we're going to rate the most toxic fandoms out there out of all the fandoms. So, okay, the next one Rob and I argued about, and I think
we still argue about
Rob is right in this one. But it's classified as a horror.
It's not.
It is not. Escape from New York.
There's no way Escape from New York is a horror movie.
One of James Cameron's finest films.
Apocalyptic sci-fi all the way, but not
a horror
film.
film. I think it was named a horror film because of the kills. It definitely was one of the most violent science fiction movies for the time.
Oh man, for the time, it blew everything else out of the water.
And it's literally prophetic if you look what's happening
Call
in New York right now.
Yeah, right.
But this is one of my favorite films.
One of mine too.
I know it is, Rob, because this is just such a great film. It only had a budget of $6 million, which is shocking when you compare it to Scanners,
the other two.
because this was a much larger production. It grossed $25.2 million. And the movie was filmed in a real abandoned city in East St. Louis.
That's the interesting fact. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. So let's take a look at the trailer.
Love this movie.
Parts have been burned down in the city in a massive fire in 1976 when it was rebuilt. The city gave carpenters free rein to film there at night, giving the film its eerie post-apocalyptic look without needing expensive sets. And we see the difference between practical and legit location versus green screen when you see the sequel, Escape from LA, which is terrible.
It's hot. That was an abomination. But this was a film that you could actually, it could happen. You could see this happening. You knew all going to the chaos and
absolutely
making a prison out of it.
Kurt Russell's eye patch was his idea. And Jamie Lee Curtis did the opening narration.
I did not know that.
I did not know that.
Wow.
Donald Pleasance, the president in the film, modeled his performance on Margaret Thatcher because he strongly disliked her.
Wow.
And wanted to mock her.
Mocking Margaret Thatcher, didn't know that.
James Cameron worked on this film. He was a matte artist.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. You just saw Ernest Borgnine. He's in at least 3 of our movies in 1982. Ernest Borgnine had a good year in 1982.
He was big back in the 80s.
The wireframe city effects were made by models, of course. There was no CGI. Inspired a video game called Escape from New York. It was released alongside the film. Call Me Snake was an ad-lib line by Kurt Russell.
Such a classic, though, Call Me Snake.
There was almost a prequel, which would have been all about Snake Plissken.
That would have been cool.
But instead, they did Escape from LA.
They should have done the prequel.
And the reason why Lee Van Cleef, guys, if you recognize him, what's he from? You know this.
Put me on the spot.
Good, Bad, and Ugly.
Yes. Sorry.
He was in the Good, Bad, and Ugly.
It was Adrian Barbeau. I had such a crush on her.
He was in a lot of Sergio Leone's films. If you Google Sergio Leone, he did a ton of spaghetti westerns, which made Clint Eastwood famous.
Yeah.
He was picked directly.
Oh, in 1995.
Carpenter loved spaghetti. Yeah, back when Carpenter loved the spaghetti western so much that he had to have Van Cleef in
all
the
those spaghetti
film.
westerns too. They're great.
He had to have Van Cleef in the film, which is pretty badass. So, as you guys know, the iconic character that Kurt Russell has so many iconic characters.
He does.
He's got
I don't know if a lot of people
Kurt
know.
Russell was. There's Rob. We gotta take our.
He
was in the thing.
He was also.
He was McReady.
He was also in Tombstone.
He was in
How do we not?
Tombstone.
How do we forget about him as Wild
You
Earp?
want to talk about an
Tombstone?
actor who has
Wow.
the most iconic roles? I think Kurt Russell's
brains
got to be in
left.
the top 10. He was Mac Ready in The Thing. He was John Ruth in Hateful Eight, which was modeled after Mac Ready from The Thing.
I've not seen that one.
That's a phenomenal movie from Tarantino.
But he got, I don't know if
he's been in Monarch Legacy of Monsters, which wasn't fantastic. He was in The Christmas Chronicles, which was really good. He was in Bone Tomahawk, which I have not seen yet.
I've not seen that one either.
He was also played the driver in Death Proof, another iconic character. He was in Poseidon. He played the superhero father in Sky High, which was another iconic character. He was in Miracle. He was in Soldier, which is a very underrated film. Soldier exists in the Blade Runner universe. And there's some who speculate that the Alien Blade Runner universes exist together as well. Wow. He was also in Breakdown, which is a really tough movie to watch, where his wife gets kidnapped. Stargate, he played the general, again, iconic. Mm-hmm. He played Elvis in Forrest Gump. If you're wondering who the Elvis who did the voice, that was him. He was in Tombstone as Wyatt Earp, the best Wyatt Earp to ever hit film. We're not going to talk about Tango and Cash. Jack Burton. Good Lord. Jack Burton. Big Trouble in Little China is one of my favorite films.
Jack Burton.
This is a condition that happens. I honestly believe I am not the only... Joshua, thank you. He played a cop in Dark Blue. Thank you, Joshua, and welcome. This happens to live broadcasters. Literally, guys, these are all my notes
and you forget.
That I prepared, and I can't remember fucking Jack Burton, one of my favorite characters in movie history in Big Trouble in Little China, which I hope they never, ever, ever redo. He was also in a very good movie with Robin Williams, a comedy called The Best of Times, which I recommend you check out too. It's not one of Robin Williams' best films, but it's a cute little film.
As far as his career goes, it's worth noting also, I don't know if you have in your notes, that he was a huge Disney star when he was a kid.
Right.
Was a teenager. He was
that's where he made himself.
He was huge back then, yeah.
This was the film, I think, that really launched him, but he had a tremendous Disney career. You are absolutely right, Rob. But speaking of him being so iconic, he was the inspiration for this guy.
I did not know that.
Metal Gear Solid. We all know that. The moment this film came out, if you had seen Escape from New York, you knew this was Snake Plissken.
Snake.
Without a doubt. I have to check out Dark Blue, Joshua. I haven't actually seen Dark Blue. The sequel was Escape from L.A., which you need to escape from it.
Oh, my God. The surfboard scene. Are you kidding me? That was so stupid.
It felt like... you know what it felt like? It felt like a parody of the first movie.
They did feel like a parody. It 100% did. It 100% did.
So, but yeah, try to avoid that one. I try to pretend that James Cameron...
It doesn't exist in my world.
He directed it.
It does not exist in my world.
So, So, Escape from New York, Rob, I think we agree on this.
Is there any argument
Go ahead.
to be had? Yeah, that's the GOAT, bro.
That is the GOAT.
That is the GOAT.
It was funny because Rob and I were reviewing these movies before we started. And unlike last time where we had much more C's and F's.
A whole lot of C's and F's.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting year because there's a lot of goats.
There's a lot of goats.
But that is definitely a GOAT.
No argument whatsoever.
I can't imagine anyone arguing.
And I dare anybody out there to argue about whether that's a GOAT or not.
Yep. So, now this next film I hadn't heard about till we did this. I'm honest. Deadly Blessing. This was one of Wes Craven's early films. Absolutely an inspiration for Nightmare on Elm Street. Because the majority of this story is about them having dreams that reflect their phobias.
Okay.
So, very interesting film. Let's check it out. I think if you like Wes Craven, you have to watch it. It's a bit of a chore to watch. I'm not going to lie to you. But if you like Wes Craven, you definitely need to add it to your library.
Pay attention to a lot?
Yes, you do. So,
and for those of you...
And guess who's in this, Rob, that we just saw?
Who?
Ernest Borgnine.
Ernest Borgnine, yeah. Wonder what he hasn't been in.
This is the second film. I'm sure there's more of them, but there's only 2 films I know of about Amish people. And that's Witness with Harrison Ford and this one. But this was also, I think Sharon Stone makes her. This is there she is. A big move for her in this one. I thought that was Pee Wee Herman at first, but it's not. This was. It runs 100 minutes, hour and 40. It It was a $3 million film, and it only grossed 8.3. Still would be considered a success. This was the film that transitioned Wes Craven into the man he would become.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bathtub scene with a snake that is completely evident that it was the inspiration for the infamous glove scene that happens. It is a weird mix of slasher, religious thriller, and psychological thriller. Let's call it psychedelic thriller.
Psychedelic.
And none of them really work well together. I mean, it's like a puzzle that you're slamming the piece into. Here comes that scene I was telling you about, Rob, about the snake, which is an interesting way to kill someone in a bathtub.
Very interesting.
By the way, Ernest Borgnine did win a Razzie as worst supporting actor for this, and you have to watch it. He hams this thing.
Oh,
up.
that's definitely a takeoff.
If you are a vegetarian, don't watch this film. As much ham is in it.
Did you hear that, honey?
It was filmed in Waxahachie, Texas.
Waxahachie. Been there many times.
And Michael Berryman is in this film. We'll talk about him in a second. Susan Buckner passes cinema marquee, and you see The Summer of Fear, which is a Craven film that they both were in. It has a very weak reception as a critical film. I don't like Rotten Tomatoes. I don't go by that. I don't care what Rotten Tomatoes score is.
Rotten Tomatoes is the worst side. I don't like them.
Weird symbol, too. I think he was trying to create some new occultic symbol, because I looked
kind
it
of
up.
satanic looking.
It looks like satanic tic-tac-toe.
Yeah.
So
that's a good analogy.
It looks like satanic. Thank you. Try. So Wes Craven is one of the most prolific. This is just from the 80s, Rob.
Wow.
I think no. I'm sorry. There are some 90s because you got the Scream series, but you talk about all the nightmares. I didn't know he did Shocker. He also did Cursed, which is terrible. Deadly Friend, which is a Swamp Thing. The original Swamp Thing.
He did Swamp Thing?
Yeah. People Under Stairs, The Hills Had Eyes. Notice he did not do this. Oh, he did the sequel, unfortunately. Last Out on the Left. And he of course, Scream 1, 2, 3, and 4. He also did A New Nightmare, which wasn't great. And he did Vampire in Brooklyn with Eddie Murphy.
That's an obscure movie.
So, yeah. So he did 26 films.
Wow.
So far. So pretty impressive thing.
Did you say he did the reboot Friday Nightmare on Elm Street with Jackie Haley? Not that one.
No.
Okay, that was an abomination.
Michael Berryman, who I mentioned, plays in this film. If you guys know what I'm talking about, The Hills Have Eyes, it's the giant guy with the bald head.
Yeah.
He's most known for The Hills Have Eyes, but he was also in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which I didn't know.
Sure was.
He was in 2 Star Trek films.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And he was also in Weird Science, which...
good movie.
Yeah, he's the what does he say? I'm pretty sure if we keep this between ourselves, I wouldn't want this to affect my teaching profession. That's probably not quote for quote, but that's it. But he's a really good actor. He was a character actor. And it had Ernest Borgnine in it. And for those Gen Zers, Mermaid Man.
Mermaid Man. There you go. Nice reference.
He was Mermaid Man in that. It was the first Amish-themed religious slasher horror cult film. It really way over ambitious. I don't know if you guys knew this, but while we stare at the very handsome Mermaid Man, Wes Craven
Barnacle Boy, don't forget about him.
Was going to be a preacher.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's
so
very surprising.
That's why you see him do a lot of religious themes in his films. All of his films have religious themes. This is the second Ernest Borgnine film to count, and I think there's another one. It was Sharon Stone's first speaking role. By the way, one of my favorite Ernest Borgnine films, Rob, is Superfuzz. Have you seen that?
I have not seen Superfuzz.
So Superfuzz, we'll talk about. I didn't talk about this film because there's so much to go into, but Superfuzz is about a cop who sees a nuclear explosion and gets superpowers. And his only weakness is the color red.
The color red.
Now, you get the whole Superman, red sun. It's a comedy, and Borgnine plays his partner. And it is a very funny movie. It's hard to find, but check it out. Super Fuzz.
Is it the Super Troopers of his time?
That the theme song is "He's a Super Trooper," really super duper. It's such. If you love the '80s, this is '80s cheese. It's a must see. Mm-hmm. It's a terrible movie, but an absolute must see. But Borgnine is hilarious in it. The Paranoia. Some people think the Paranoia, the film, actually inspired the Thing. I don't agree with that. I think it's just like any other psychological thriller, but they do a lot with the fears. And I had one of the pictures. I got rid of it. One of the scenes, I couldn't get a clear one, was the spider dropping in the mouth.
Oh,
There's a scene with the spider drop, and I think that a fake spider was dropped in, but a real spider crawled out. The snake scene, obviously, it does really capitalize on the fears. It doesn't really come together at the end, like I said. It doesn't really come together at the end at all. It does drag out. There are some pacing issues. You can tell this was Wes Craven kind of feeling his oats, trying to kind of get his process together. So probably a little bit too much freedom.
Nail down his craft.
It has 2 killers, and one of the killers is their sisters from the, I think they're former Amish, but it has a sleepaway camp ending. One of the females ends up being a male, a trans character. And unlike Sleepaway Camp, which had that awful effect, what they did was they put a prosthetic male chest on her, and it actually looks very good. So unlike Sleepaway Camp, it's much more believable that this might have been a male.
Yeah.
Just a weird way. And it also has a very Jason Goes to Hell style ending where the demon who they're talking about doesn't show up till the end. I don't think you can see him. And he pulls her through the floor. So very much Jason Goes to Hell. I had a hard time watching this, Rob. It bored me. But that's personal opinion. It's very stylized. It's not art house, but it's definitely Craven figuring out the kind of director he wants to be. Hey, Jason. That's our Thor, by the way, Jason Thomas.
Hey, Jason.
For us, for when we do our cosplay for charity events and so forth, and Ren Fair. I don't know, Rob. The performances aren't great. The twist is creative, but I don't know if it's creative enough to earn it. Is it unwatchable? For me, it is.
Is it unwatchable?
For me, it is, but I don't think...
I'll go with you on this one.
No, I'm going to go F. I don't think a Wes Craven fan would find it unwatchable. I did because I didn't like the film, but a dedicated Wes Craven film might be like, Ron, you kidding me? This was like his swan song, or it brought forth Freddy, And it's true, it did. I do think it was the inspiration for a lot of the ideas. So in that case, I think a lot of fans would rate it higher, but for me, it's an F. The next film I had never heard of.
Never heard of it either.
Never. It's called The Boogans.
The Boogans.
Not The Boggins, which is what I was calling it. It's The Boogans. This, to me, Rob, and I wish I would have the graphic. I might put it in the replay. I think this inspired Tremors.
Really?
Because the creature lives underground. You see it attack people. It drags away, but you don't see the creature at the end, which is a very good thing. We'll talk about that in a second.
So it rips off the Tremors.
Well, Tremors hadn't come out yet.
Oh, okay. So Tremors
made a better version of this
Boogans.
movie. Tremors made a better version of this movie.
They could have come out with a better name, The Boogans. That sounds like something.
And they never explain it. They never explain why it's called The Boogans. Not
just
once.
The Boogans.
It's just The Boogans.
Sounds like something out of your nose.
And even that the poster is totally... It's a beautiful poster, but
it looks like
nothing to fucking do with the film.
No, really?
Not a damn
no hands
thing.
like that? No.
Not a damn thing to do with the film. This was... budget was $600,000. You can tell.
Okay.
But I will say this: it is beautifully filmed. It looks good.
Cinematography wise,
it looks good. Yeah, it looks good. I like the color grading. I like all of it. Again, guys, remember I'm a filmmaker, so I pick on these things and things that you'd be like, Ron, fuck off. I don't care about the color grading. It runs an hour and 35 minutes. It's very long. The last half of this film is the film. The first half drags. It was and it made $3 million, which is not bad on a $600,000 budget.
It's not bad.
So
Does it have a cult following at all?
It does. It does. It was the name of the film was coined by the screenwriter David O'Malley because he thought of the Boogie Man.
The Boogans.
Which doesn't make any sense.
No, it really doesn't.
It was filmed in Utah, and it did become a drive-in hit. It kind of saw a second life. And you know who reviewed this film and thought it was amazing?
Tell me.
Do you really want to know?
I do want to know.
Do you want to know?
Inquiring minds want to know.
I don't know if I have it. Stephen King thought this was a great film.
Thought it was a great film?
Yep.
Wow.
I think that was during his cocaine fueled.
It had to have been.
That was right before he made
or after he was in the
Maximum
car accident.
Overdrive. Yeah. The reason why it was made, it was the director wanted to make a loving throwback to the monster films of the 50s and 60s. This feels like if someone gave Roger Corman a decent budget and told him to stay the fuck away from the film. That's what this feels like. So this is what it feels like. As you guys can tell, I'm not a big fan of Roger Corman. Roger Corman had a massive impact in film history. There's no doubting that. Despite the fact he was the B-movie king, without Corman, I think a lot of films that we love would never came out. But Corman was an asshole. I don't care. They always give him praise. If you want to watch a great example of that, watch Doomed, the documentary on the Fantastic Four movie that was ever made and how he fucked over those guys. Anyway, let's take a look at the Boogans.
The Boogans.
The Boogans.
Don't pick your Boogans.
The company that made this, Taff International and Sun Classics, was better known for documentary films. So this was their first venture into fiction. The climax was shot in real mind. And the lead actress married the director. Shocker. Shocker. Like that never happened in the 80s.
Oh, no.
I do applaud them for not showing the monster. That was, and I think they got that from Jaws.
I'm a big fan of that, not showing the monster till...
They did it in Tremors. Mm-hmm. But the payoff, if you thought Bruce the Shark was a little off, the payoff on this one is fucking terrible. And they kill the dog. They hate this dog.
You can't kill dogs.
They hate the dog, and the dog has done nothing in this film, and they hate the fucking dog.
I hate movies that kill dogs.
They hate the dog. I'm talking about hate. There's a visceral hate for this poor dog who does nothing in the film but just cute. Again, the second half moves pretty good. The first half is a chore, but there is a couple kills in the first half. But they do a lot of POV stuff, which was also something kind of new.
Yeah.
No CGI, all practical. Of course, I keep saying CGI. CGI wasn't even popular back then. This was the one I told you, Rob, where the girl agreed to do a shower scene in the nude.
Oh, and then...
and she got on set and said, fuck it, I'm
not doing it.
So she ends up in the basement. She ends up in the shower wearing a towel and then ends up in the basement. It's that towel... I don't know who sells that towel, but that towel doesn't move. I don't know if they super glued it to her body or what, but it does not move. So if you're looking for nudity, you've come to the wrong place.
That's hilarious.
But you see, Rob, it does have a very 50s, 60s monster feel to it.
Oh, absolutely.
The acting is okay. The characters are one-dimensional. It's not anything that you would write home about. I'm just pissed off at the poster. I'd be pissed off if I saw a movie, the poster. This was one of the ones that you'd walk into Blockbuster and see that go, ooh,
that was good.
Because you'd go there, inevitably, the movie you wanted to see was sold out. Because that's the way it worked.
So you had to pick another one.
So this is when you immediately go through the Monster Man if you don't want to see, but the director of this is the director of many episodes of Supernatural, Smallville, and Charmed, which, again, the directing is not awful. It's not a great movie, but it's not one where I would say the director was off his nut. But definitely a marked difference to what he did in the future. Mm-hmm. So the man directed Superman. So that's a Superman. And of course, Stephen King loved this film. But does that guy look familiar, Rob? Father's Day from Creepshow?
Yeah.
He's the old guy in the film that warns everybody.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. So this was one of the creepiest fucking things I've ever seen. This scene in Creepshow scared the hell out of me. We'll be reviewing Creepshow, by the way. But this is the Father's Day where he wants the cake.
Okay.
So, but the actor who played not the zombie, obviously that's a stunt actor, but the actor who played the father who dies was the guy in the creepy guy who does nothing. Like he doesn't do the quit thing. He doesn't do the guy at the gas station before the slasher film. Like, don't go there.
Oh, yeah.
He basically just watches everybody.
Just watch it
Watches
happen.
it, and then he dies. It's like, what the hell, dude? What was that all about? So you ready to see the monster, Rob?
Yeah, please.
You sure?
Please.
Guys, hold on to your asses. Hey, Gloria, this is the monster from the Boggins.
Okay.
You ready?
Yep. Hit it. Wow.
They had one of these.
What in the
They
hell
had
is
one
that?
puppet.
What is that supposed
It's
to
a
be?
turtle squid
It looks like a turtle
crab
Yeah.
hybrid.
That's what it looks like.
So, number one,
Wow.
if this thing attacked me, I'd be like,
Holy-
oh, I would get killed because I'm like, oh, you're so cute.
It's so
And it would bit
cute.
my hand off.
Let me give you smooches.
It has tentacles and pincers like a crab, but a body like a turtle. This was the Boggins monster. I had one of them. Now,
How long do you see him?
once
What? Just one little
at
time?
the end, they kill him. They blow up a mine around him. It's easy to make fun of this creature, but stop and look at a second. This thing took work.
Oh, it definitely took some work, but I don't know if it was the right work.
No, but it took work. It wasn't just like... I will tell you that at the beginning of the film, a lot of these horror films have this ridiculous exposition. I hate the narration. I hate when... I use it in your a little bit too, so it's a movie trope. But this one tells the whole story of the Boggins monster in the opening title credits.
Oh, okay.
It shows all these really cool newspaper things and just does the whole thing.
Montage.
It reminds me of what they did in A Quiet Place when they scan, in the movie, they scan the bulletin board where the father's keeping all the articles. And through that slow scan, you kind of get the story of the Quiet Place monster.
I have not seen A Quiet Place yet. So.
Right. It averages about one. There's 1 and 2. But the kill, the length between the first and second kill is almost an hour.
Wow.
So that's a lot.
That's a whole lot.
And the VHS release was delayed until 1998. So this film came out of theaters and found new life once it hit the video shelves, just like what Rob and I discussed.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the monster. That's the Boggins monster.
Wow.
So enjoy that.
Turtle, squid, crab.
Yeah, it's like there's nothing scary about it. I think that this one is actually scary. The top image is scary than the bottom image because you see the teeth. Now, let's be honest. If a giant squid, crab, turtle came after you, you'd shit your pants.
Even might run, yeah.
If this thing was real, you'd shit your pants. I think you could probably outrun it, though.
Absolutely.
I think it could be
100%
outrun. Because just the way the legs are configured, this thing is just sliding across the floor.
Yeah, it's not
It's
hauling
doing the
around.
dog paddle across the floor. But that is the Boggins monster. So, all right. So, Rob.
Just the name tells me Z.
But see, it was not watchable, though. I actually, I'm not going to lie to you, I actually enjoyed it to some extent.
So it was watchable.
It's watchable. I think it's an F.
Okay.
I would give it a C, but that monster is just no.
Nothing you said during this whole review, it makes me want to watch it.
No.
Is that why I said Z?
Yeah.
It doesn't even sound like it's
No, it's not
appealing at all.
unwatchable. It's definitely unwatchable.
Okay.
It's watchable. If you like Roger Corman films, this is like a step up. It really is.
Let's step up.
So our next film is a surprise. I heard nothing but bad things about this film. I had not seen it. I always thought the cover art was badass.
It looks good.
That is a cool.
That's cool.
And everyone said, "Oh, it doesn't deliver." So I watched this movie and I'm like, "What the fuck were they talking about?" This is actually a really good horror film.
Is it a good one?
It's a supernatural and slasher. It's really, really interesting. It was. It runs about an hour and 32 minutes. It was made for $6 million. It only ran 83 theaters.
83?
Guess how much it grossed?
20
what?
million.
No, lower.
Oh, 2 million?
No.
Lower?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. 200,000?
Yeah, $260,000.
Wow.
This was a bomb.
They lost their ass.
It got new life on home video and TV because people experience. And notice, what does it say? The creators of Alien. The creator of Alien, as you guys know, is Dan O'Bannon. Dan O'Bannon just owns this film, but it is somehow. I don't know if he wrote the screenplay or wrote a screenplay that they adapted.
He had a hand in it.
But they gave him credit and he disavows his film. I don't know why. It's not bad.
Not bad.
It's not bad. It's kind of like Stephen King disavowing The Shining. So I don't know why he disavows his film. But
is it easy to find?
It is.
Okay.
And Stan Winston was involved in the visual effects.
Any notable actors?
Yeah. There's one in there that likes to haunt your nightmares.
Oh, really?
Yep. So let's watch the trailer to Dead and Buried.
Dead and Buried.
Now,
that's got a nice little.
The trailer does not do the film justice. It did not hold up well. This does not look like I will say this, it doesn't look like a theatrical movie. It looks like a made-for-TV movie. Okay. I think that's what hurt it. Still good visuals, still good cinematography, but it does not look like a theatrical film. It does have, if you notice, a little bit of Night of the Living Dead vibe to it.
Yeah, it does.
But it's not that movie.
The trailer definitely does.
It's not that movie. And if you notice that actor, who's that actor, Rob? Look at these visual effects, Rob. Watch these visual effects. I think they're going to flash back. He does an amazing job.
Oh, that's
Watch his visual effects, Rob.
Wow.
Yeah. This has the infamous needle to the eye scene, which I can't. I'm going to turn away with this thing. This has got. I mean, I'm sorry. Ooh. This is. Yeah, it goes right in the eye. It goes straight in the eye, and it looks incredible. It looks incredible. The villain in this movie is going to shock you, Rob. We're going to talk about that in a second.
Okay.
The villain is. This was originally supposed to be a dark comedy.
A dark comedy?
Yeah, and you can tell. You can tell. I don't know about you, but you look at that now, it's got that Monty Python feel to it.
It does. You're absolutely right.
But they went hard, and I'm glad they did because it actually has a really good story. It was a video nasty, but it was taken off the list because it was mistaken for another film. So it did not stay there.
Did the film have a similar name?
Yeah. Okay. So the person, for you guys who don't know, is Dan O'Bannon, is the father of the Alien series. Mm-hmm. He also did Dark Star. An incredible mind that got extinguished way too soon. I think he disowned this movie when he saw the box office results. But the director, Gary Sherman, originally had planned for it to be a comedy. A lot of the filming was done under artificial tents to create the night feel.
Artificial tents.
It has a cult following. The cinematographer Stephen Poster later worked on Donnie Darko, and he wanted to create a dreamy kind of effect, like you weren't sure if it was real or a dream. He achieves that. He does. Okay. He absolutely achieves that. There is a full 4K restoration. I highly recommend you watch the 4K restoration because it's absolutely fantastic. This was a slow burn film, and the director was inspired by the slow burn films slow burn horror films came from Italy. Just so you know, that's where they originate from. If you watch a lot of the Italian horror films in this era in the 70s, they're slow burn. They take forever to get there, but they're more interested in story than anything else. Sometimes that works. We have mixed feelings in The Changeling. Yeah. This one, it works, but you have to go in knowing that. He despised the film. So the company that made this film, Avco, they also made. You ready for this, Rob?
I'm ready.
The Fog and Escape from New York. So they had a big year in 81.
Oh, they made that. Yeah, that's a big year.
They also were the studio that provided those two. So that's pretty impressive. And the villain in this film, you ready?
I'm ready. No.
It's Grandpa Joe. Of course, he was the
Get
villain.
outta
He was the
here.
villain. He was the villain. Hey, Ron, welcome to the cast.
Hey.
He was the villain in Willy Wonka too, Rob. The guy sat in bed
On his
and
ass,
did
did
nothing
nothing.
until he had the opportunity to get candy.
True, but I
So-
just don't see him as a villain. That's not a villain face.
He's kind of like the Jenny of Willy Wonka.
Is he? Oh, yeah, that's
He's
right.
kind of
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the Jenny
You're
of Willy
kinda
Wonka.
right. What kind of, I mean, is he, how vicious is he in this movie? Is he,
He's fantastic.
Is he?
He's the highlight. And what's really sad, and I didn't realize because he looks very emaciated, he was dying of cancer when he made this film.
wow.
And didn't make it to see the film's debut.
Oh, that's horrible.
He died after the film
That's
was made.
horrible.
So it was his last film. If you watch the film, you can't even recognize him. But he killed. I mean, the guy's died of cancer. It reminds me very much of what happened with what's the gentleman's name who played Black Panther?
I played T'Challa. Shoot. It's that blockage, man.
Yeah.
That live broadcast blockage.
Son of a gun.
Chadwick Boseman.
Chadwick
Yeah.
Boseman.
Wow.
Remind me a lot of what happened with Chadwick, but really, really sad. But Grandpa Joe played the bad guy, and he's devious. So the plot is this: these people die, and all of a sudden they keep coming back,
Okay.
like normal, but they don't remember.
Oh.
And so the cop figures it out, or begins to investigate, and he figures it out. And that scene you saw where he's reconstructing, they never explain how he's able to resurrect people, which I like. They leave it very open. You know, it's
Okay.
magic or whatever. But he basically strips the body down and rebuilds it to look exactly like the person, and then he gives it certain memories. Well, at the end of the movie, you find out the entire town is resurrected, including the cop.
Okay.
And at the end, the cop is given the opportunity to save himself as he starts to decay. So it's got a really cool ending.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, it's a really
actually.
cool ending. I highly recommend checking it out. The eye scene was insane. I don't.
I always cringe at those.
Oh, dude.
Anytime you mess with somebody's eye, it just freaks me out.
And this was Stan Winston's makeup effects, and you can tell. The makeup effects are fantastic. I didn't realize, Rob, that Stan Winston's team did the Penguin from Batman Returns.
Oh, that was a phenomenal.
He also did the armor or designed the armor for Iron Man. I didn't know that. He worked on Marvel.
Wow.
As well. So he did another one of my favorite films called The Relic. He also designed Pumpkinhead
Pumpkin. That's
and The Alien. Of course, he did that with Geiger. And he also was involved in the practical effects for Leviathan, which is also basically the thing underwater.
Pretty
which is
much,
a very
yeah,
good movie.
yeah.
Very, very good movie. And then I think that green guy is from Galaxy Quest, if I'm not mistaken. And he did all the monsters for Monster Squad.
Okay.
I included the Creature from the Black Lagoon, but and I can't wait to do Monster Squad because the whole story about how they circumvented the Universal Monster thing is amazing. But I don't want to talk about that now. I want to save that for when we do, because Monster Squad will be part of this.
Oh yeah.
And it has that amazing twist ending. So it's really, really good. I was shocked. I did not think it was going to be that good, Rob. And I think I said it to you. I said, I heard that's one of the worst films ever made.
So obviously a huge bomb at the box office, but
Oh yeah, and so many of these films found their life on HBO and in VHS.
VHS tapes.
And it's funny because who would have known that HBO, which was one of the first streaming services,
Yes.
would spawn.
Actually, the very first.
Yeah. And does anyone know what HBO stands for? A lot of Gen Zers don't know. Do you know what it stands for, Rob?
I do.
What does it stand for?
Home box office.
Yes, sir. So this one's a hard one, Rob, because I so want to make it a GOAT.
From your description, I would say an A
And it's
myself.
definitely an A. It's without a doubt an A. Again, you got to like slow burn. If you don't like slow burn, you will not like this movie. But it is definitely, without a doubt, I think an A.
Cool.
So look at this, Rob. Not bad.
No, definitely better than
Compared to last
1980.
year. Damn.
80 was bad.
Yeah.
1980.
So the next film is Inseminoid.
I thought this was a porno when Ron first told me about it.
It's
The name just is like,
It's got
what?
the same qualities. Fuck this
I have
movie.
not seen this one either.
Fuck this movie. This is, I've never had such a visceral reaction to a film that probably could have been pretty badass.
So the premise is okay, but
So
not the,
it's you hit on that. It's like someone was watching a porno on one TV and Alien on the other and said, how can I combine this bullshit together?
That's funny.
So a crew gets a distress call and goes to an alien planet.
Oh, where have I heard
Shocker.
that before?
They find the alien. The alien impregnates the final girl. And not only impregnates her, but starts taking over her mind. Then we move from that to straight slasher flick.
So it's not meant to be a comedy.
No, it's not meant to be.
Oh, but it kind of...
It's not meant to be a comedy.
Wow.
Fuck this movie. Anyway,
Wow.
so we move into slasher flick, and I will tell you, I have seen a lot of horror films. Rob has. We always talk about the tropes of tripping over your own footprints and all that. This film, for scientists who have traveled through space, which is no small feat, this is, they make the dumbest mistakes. What was that? The flight that Amazon did with Katy Perry in that group? What was it called? Blue something? Blue
Sky or Blue...
this is the Blue... This is that in movie form. This is what this is, because there is no way astronauts and science... I mean, you got to do a little bit of suspended disbelief, because that's how hard works, but damn! This is so... The mistakes they make. And then they trash the control room, and literally they knock over a control board, and you could tell it's made of balsa wood. It's like Roger Corman went, damn, guys, I'm supposed to do that. It's like, this is like Roger Corman's wet dream. I feel like this is what Roger Corman, if he had come up with Aliens, this is what we would have got. It runs an hour and 33 minutes, which is exactly 1 hour and 32 minutes too long. It was made for $1 million.
Wow. How much did it make, I wonder?
1.5.
Oh, really?
It hit. Now, this is critically acclaimed.
No.
Yep. It hit the UK top 5 and reached number 7 in France.
Oh, that's the UK and France, though. Sorry about that. It's this French or from UK, sorry.
So let's take a look at this fucking trailer.
Oh, boy.
Now, if you watch the trailer, this looks pretty cool. Like, holy shit, this looks really cool. You know,
right?
And they just barely got away with showing nudity.
Yeah, how they get?
Well, you don't see it. They did a nice job of. Yeah, and the legs
the
open.
Legs open.
This is like,
oh, come on!
Yeah, this is the trailer.
Wow.
And then you get the it's a money shot. Like literally
That's exactly
a money shot.
shot.
It's a money shot.
Wow.
Then we cut to the actual thing. These people are all stupid. They all deserve to die. You can see the sets look like they came out of Party City. And all that. Look at these amazing fight scenes.
Wow.
That's the fight scenes. Watch these fight
smacked
scenes.
him on the butt.
Watch these fight scenes. This was choreographed by Steven Seagal. This is fat Steven Seagal choreographed these scenes. So it's just
horrible.
They all deserve to die. Every single one of them deserves to die. Look at the what they call those, the electric knife scene. All she does is swat him. Now you're supposed to believe she has superhuman powers. Oh, he grabs the fire extinguisher. This is like the highlight. Then she gives birth to the babies. And they save the babies, and they leave them with this girl. And of course, when they go back, the babies have eaten the girl. Because who would have thought that would have happened? I mean, obviously the alien babies are making the girl crazy. Mm-hmm. So the alien babies are evil. So why would you then allow? And they do a full birth scene, by the way.
Nice.
From the side, but they do a full birth scene. So this is, I mean. This one awards for special effects.
What, really?
And yeah, I don't know what. Again, this was the 80s, so they were just coming out of the drugs.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But they used real caves. Big fucking deal.
Real caves.
John Scott was the composer. I'm sure he took this one off his resume. It actually has 2 titles. It's called Inseminoid, for those of you like the Cinemax After Dark name.
Right.
Or Horror Planet, which...
Horror Planet's a hell of a lot better.
But again, that poster has fucking nothing to do with the movie. So if you want to watch it, you look up Inseminoid or Horror Planet. You want to talk about a movie on the nose. How do we make an alien movie about an alien that impregnates? What can we use? Inseminoid. Because apparently alien fuck was taken. So this was one of the most notorious video nasties. I don't know why. There is some pretty gory slasher effects in it, but the fight scenes, guys, I mean, it's like two drunk girls, like
slap fighting with each other.
Oh, dude, it's like yeah, it's like that skit. Yeah. It's like if Napoleon Dynamite, the actual character, choreographed the fight scenes. It is terrible. It is absolutely terrible. I don't know if it got sued. I think it might have got sued. But it does feel very rushed. I noticed that it feels incredibly rushed.
They're trying to get it
because
done
the
in a
editing
time
is
frame.
very hackneyed. The editing is almost disorienting. And by the way, there are scenes in this that look like 1970s Doctor Who. I swear to God, there are actual scenes that look like they were filmed with the cameras and the sets that were used, like discarded from Doctor Who. There's cordless phones in space. I love that.
Cordless phones.
Nice. And there's one scene where a girl gets her leg cut and like cuts it off, like only after 5 minutes being caught. And there are plenty of people around to save her. So it was there. I guess that's the inspiration for 127 hours. I would insult that movie like that. But I only have one. The movie pissed me off so much. I only have one picture. Like I didn't do anything
more.
This movie is.
Oh, it's got to be a Z, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. Again, it won awards. You may love it. It's fucking unwatchable. It's you get so mad. This is the only kind of film I would watch to do for a movie review. I would never watch this movie
just to watch
for any other reason. It's fucking. Did I make it clear enough that it's fucking terrible?
Ron, how do you feel about the movie, though?
It's fucking terrible. So that was Inseminoid.
Inseminoid.
So the next movie, how do you take one of the most iconic characters, demonic child,
the Omen franchise,
that has almost a Final Destination feel of death, and make it boring as fuck? There you go. That's how you do it. You throw Sam Neill in it, a lot of exposition.
I disagree with him on the boring. I don't think it was that bad.
Oh my god!
Because I'm a huge fan of the Omen series, but it was not up to par with the other ones.
No,
it was not up to par with the other ones.
No, Sam Neill basically is half asleep throughout most of this film. They give him so many fucking speeches. And they're long and they're drawn out. The deaths are not anywhere as creative as the first two Omen films.
They're not.
And the whole point of the Omen film wasn't the fact that the kid's the Antichrist, but it was a creepy kid.
Creepy kid, yep.
And you couldn't kill him. And this guy, how did they kill him, Rob?
With a knife.
Stabs him with a knife in the back.
Just a knife. Just one knife.
Yep.
Not even because with the first one he had to kill him with several, right? Like 7.
I don't even know.
I forget, but anyway, yeah, it was very, very anticlimactic. The kill was just hard. Yeah.
Sam Neill this helped his career. I don't know how. And he actually married his on-screen co-star.
I think it's just because it had the Omen name on it.
Yeah. Well, I noticed it doesn't. It says just Final.
But it's still. It
says the last. This is the last entry, by the way, which is also a lie. It's not the last entry.
You're right.
They said. Someone said you can't make a worse movie than this, and someone said, hold my fucking beer.
Yeah, hold my beer.
We'll talk about the Omen 4. It was called originally the Omen 3, the final chapter. Then it was Omen 3, the final conflict, and finally became the final conflict.
I actually like the name.
If it was a good movie, yeah.
Yeah.
There were 450 extras in the Corey scene. 450 extras. Yeah, so it runs about an hour and 48 minutes, which it feels. You feel every second of it. I know Rob was great. It was made for $6 million, and it made, believe it or not, $20 million. It made its budget back in its opening weekend, which you never see anymore.
No.
Except for maybe like a film like Sinners or something. But let's take a look at the final conflict. The score is by Jerry Goldsmith, who is a very well known as a composer. There was one of the most impressive stunts. It actually is the most frightening stunt of his career per the Guinness Book of World Records. He actually set the record, Vic Armstrong, by jumping backwards 100 feet from the bridge.
Wow.
So that scored in the Guinness Book. It was like me and Rob. There's mixed reviews. Some people love the film as a political thriller more than a horror film, and some people were really disappointed because, much like with the, it's not as bad as, but like Halloween 3 and Halloween.
No, yes,
it was a different. It was a different film. I think I can say it's a political thriller more than anything else.
That's a good description.
Yeah. So I had a rough time getting through it. But Jerry Goldsmith actually scored all 3 movies. He did not do the 4th, which we'll talk about in a second. I think it's Sam Neill's worst performance. Rob disagrees.
I don't think it was that bad.
I think they gave, and I don't think it was Sam Neill's fault. The script was exhaustive. The script had to be exhaustive.
No, the ending, the kill was anticlimactic, but I did like the vision of Jesus standing, kind of his apparition in the back after he died. You know, that was kind of cool. I like the way they did that.
Yep.
But being able to kill him that easily is just it's just stupid.
Yeah. I personally think that the first 2 films, and this one too, I think this series inspired the way they do the kills in the Final Destination, because the way you think the person's going to get killed is not the way.
Not the way they get killed.
So I really do feel, but I do think it's anticlimactic. And one of the worst things about this film, and Robbie, I forgot that there's a 10-minute scene of babies being killed. Now they don't show.
Yeah, they don't show.
They just show people pushing carriages in front of cars, and walking in with knives.
Right, trying to find.
It's very disturbing.
Trying to find those.
And I think that was the shock value. I think they thought, well, if we go with that scene, that'll give it the Damien feel.
That was a disturbing scene, but it was,
Yeah. So Sam Neill has a pretty substantial sci-fi and horror career. He was in The Mouth of Madness, which is actually a very good film.
What's the name?
In The Mouth of Madness.
Mouth of Madness.
It's a H.P. Lovecraft film. It's fantastic. It actually kind of, I don't know if it pokes fun, but the main character is a Stephen King style character.
Okay.
He was in Dead Calm, which is an interesting film. I recommend it. It's a slow-paced psychological thriller. I threw in Bicentennial Man because he's actually very charming in that. That film gets a lot of crap, but it's actually not a bad film. I think it's one of Robin Williams' better films. I think what happened was people had gotten used to Robin Williams being this crazy idiot. Mm-hmm. And when he played in films where he was more contained but still funny, this, I feel like, was the lead up to films like Being the Genie. Mm-hmm. Of course, the Genie's kind of manic, but this is I thought it was a good film. I really think you should check out Bicentennial Man. Of course, Event Horizon is, in my mind, one of the best horror films ever made. I've only seen it once. I will never see it again.
I have not seen it yet,
with my head.
But I remember your warning that you won't ever want to watch
one
it.
of the
Great
best
film, but don't watch it again.
Horror, haunted house in space. It's absolutely, and the ship goes to hell and comes back, and you can imagine. It has a 30-second scene. They're watching on a video screen of what the crew went through when they went to hell. That scene was actually 3 or 4 minutes. They cut it down to 30 seconds because there was no way they would have got any kind of rating other than X.
Oh, wow.
May not even been able to be viewed. They talked to one of the actresses. I wish I could remember what podcast she was. And she said it was intense. They hired porn stars to do it because they were doing a lot of sexual, deviant, torture kind of film. To me, it's probably, I don't care what Terrifier could put out. That may be the most disgusting torture scenes that, it's...
What year did it come out?
Event Horizon, I forget what year Event Horizon came out. But, Rob, wish you wouldn't ask me that.
Sorry.
No, I should know it.
I triggered your OCD.
You guys are here some typing. Let's take a look. 1997.
Okay.
So, but I think it's Sam Neill's best performance.
Really?
In that,
okay.
yeah.
I'm about to watch it.
And then Jurassic Park, of course.
He was in that?
It's like we forget who.
Like
Jack
Tombstone
Bowen.
or Tombstone. He's wide up for Kurt Russell. Yeah.
I think this is Sam Neill's worst film. Rob disagrees. There was a sequel. Went straight to TV. It was called Omen 4. They gender swap it out.
No, I've never seen that.
So they gender swap it out, but
probably glad
they do it. They don't do it like a lot of these films do today. They just go, we're just going to have the female be a female. Yeah. This is Damien's daughter, which I don't know when at what time yet. And the mother is protecting the daughter, so they try to kind of reboot with her.
With the first one. Okay.
And one, it's made for TV, so you know it's not going to work, and two, it's horrible. So it is the last of them.
Just out of curiosity, where would you put Omen 1 and 2?
So I'd have to disqualify myself because I hate those films.
Really?
I hate them. Yeah.
Oh,
because
okay.
the whole, guys, let me be honest with you. I'm good with slashers. I'm good with gore. I'm good with body horror. I have a real hard time with occultic films.
That's true. You've told me that with the.
So yeah.
Well, for me, I would say.
I'm surprised I watched this one.
Omen 1 would have to be the GOAT. Omen 2 would be an A.
So Rob, I'm going to default to you and let you grade this one.
I think it's an A, but
wow. Okay.
just because of the iconic franchise, but maybe it should be a C. I don't know.
You tell me
because it's the worst.
It's unwatchable for me.
It's worse of the three. I would put it in C. It's not. It's not an A. It's the worst.
Yeah, I would think if you compare it to Damien to the first two,
one,
it doesn't really hold a candle.
No, it doesn't. But it is part of the
trilogy.
So I don't think it's unwatchable. I definitely don't think it's unwatchable. But yeah, C. I'm good with that. Right. Anybody disagree?
Yeah.
Any Omen fans out there?
No, about to talk more. You're letting Rob and I talk too much. At this time, you had Monty Python, you had Airplanes. There were a lot of parodies. So someone said, "Let's make a parody of a horror film."
And I thought this was going to be, when he first told me about this movie, it was going to be about parody of Friday the 13th.
This has nothing to
do with it.
And it has nothing to do with comedy either. Inseminoid is funnier in this movie.
Wow.
Unintentional.
So this was intentionally supposed to be a funny parody.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. And it had a pretty impressive cast. Let's watch the trailer so you can kind of get an idea of what this was about. The actor Richard Benjamin and Paula Prentice are married in real life. They play John and Mary Hyatt.
Paula Prentice, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, he was. They were both in a lot of TV shows in the 70s, 80s. There's only one funny scene, and that's where the Mary Hyatt reacts to a vampire, or reacts to him with a cape, and she does this really this tantrum, and it's the only funny part of the movie. Like every time I see it,
eyeballs in the car.
There's a scene in while you were sleeping where. And they kept it in. A kid was riding a bike, hanging on newspapers, and he literally flipped his bike, and they kept the film. It was accidental. And every time I said crack up, every time I said one said crack up, everything else in this movie is absolutely terrible. The lead actress, again, so you can see, and this was before Nightmare on Elm Street.
Wow.
So did Nightmare on Elm Street get the idea from Deadly Blessing or from Friday the 14th? Let's hope it was Deadly Blessing. But Paula broke her arm before shooting, so the whole time, I thought it was Grandpa from Monsters, it's not. If you watch the film, she's got, see the arm? The one arm is always down and covered because she broke her arm prior to.
That's funny.
It took 3 weeks to shoot this. No fucking surprise
whole
there.
weeks?
Right.
Wow.
And of course they were filmed. That's just a funny scene. That's it. That's the only scene in the film that's funny. So it was filmed in Los Angeles instead of Pennsylvania. We'll go over what it spoofs in a second. It had a revival on home video. It's 76 minutes long, 1 hour and 60 minutes. It's probably the shortest film we have on this countdown. They do not disclose the budget, but it made $4 million.
They didn't disclose it?
The budget was $15 and a Best Buy gift card.
Are you sure that old guy wasn't Grandpa? Because he sure
No, it was.
like
I thought it was. I looked it up. It's not Grandpa
from
the Monsters. It is not Grandpa. This is a terrible movie. The sequel.
The trailer's
The
horrible.
sequel is better. The sequel is terrible.
Oh, what was the sequel called?
Saturday the 14th Strikes Back. Oh. And they have a guy in a hockey mask in that one.
Oh, do they?
So so they actually did the hockey mask thing in that one. But it's so quick. It doesn't make any sense. It spoofed several films. The spoof films at that time, the parody films at the time that were most well known were Airplane. Did it phenomenal.
Yeah,
Blazing Saddles, of course, Monty Python had a series of films. They were all hilarious. And so this film was made in that tradition. It spoofed Jaws, Halloween,
to the bathroom,
Rosemary's Baby, The Birds, the Creature of Black Lagoon, and Dracula. That's where the major spoofs came from with the vampires.
Oh, The Birds.
None of it worked. I don't normally say this. we have 2 films in this one countdown that I will say don't even bother, and that's this film and Inseminoid. I think it's a waste of your time. You will not get it back.
Funny that they spoofed the birds, because that was my first introduction to horror
I want
as a
to
child.
the guy who directed this. I want to show you the range of this guy. His name is Howard R. Cohen. He wrote the screenplay for this and the sequel. This is where this guy's career progressed. Vampire hookers, young nurses, Rainbow Bright.
Rainbow Bright.
Has,
wow.
If you look him up, he's got quite an
God.
extensive history
Vampire
with
hookers
children
and
shows
Rainbow Bright.
and
Wow.
cartoons. He also directed a kind of good campy film that was called Deathstalker, which has the best poster.
That's a pretty cool poster.
Yeah, that.
You know what that poster
That doesn't happen.
You know what that poster reminds me of? The old Molly Hatchet albums.
Yes,
Sure
Judas.
does.
Yeah, it looks like the Conan.
The bar. Yeah,
Bud Root.
but no, nothing to do with the movie.
No, fucking no. I wish it was that good. The movie is camp, but what I like about it is there's enough comedy that it doesn't take itself super serious.
Yeah.
They made I think there's 4 or 5 sequels, but one of the stars of this film is named Richard Booker. You know who that is, Rob?
Richard Brooker or Booker?
Richard Brooker.
That's The Walking Dead. He played in The Walking Dead.
Really? Just The Walking Dead?
Well, no, not just that's one of his biggest.
He was the
Oh, you're
first
talking about Richard Brooker? Yeah, he was Jason.
the
Yeah,
first-
I thought you were talking
He
about.
wasn't just Jason. Who was he, Rob?
He was the first.
No, he
it
wasn't
was
the
part
first
3.
Jason.
I'm sorry, part 3.
Yes, he was the first one to wear the hockey mask.
He was the very first one to wear the hockey mask.
Yep, he was the
Yeah,
first
threw me
one.
out to go. There's another actor, Brooker, that was in The Walking Dead.
Richard, I said Booker. It's Richard Brooker.
Yeah.
He played Ogress in Deathstalker.
Ogress?
Which I hope we don't have to watch. He was the first to wear the iconic hockey mask, and so Brooker. So there is an actual connection to Friday the
That's
13th.
fine.
So shocking,
Shocking.
really shocking. They did make a sequel. It
Why
was
did-
called Friday the 14th Strikes Back.
Should have been Sunday the 15th.
Yeah, that would have been, at least that would have been somewhat creative. Just by looking at that cover, you know this film is going to suck.
Yeah.
It actually, the first 15, 20 minutes is actually kind of funny, and then it just falls off. It just gets over convoluted. They try to do a kind of a serious plot with it. We are going to review this movie, unfortunately. But it's
Come out the
better,
next year.
it's better than the first, but by
Come
not
out
much.
the next year, 82 or
No,
was
it took
further
7
down?
years.
Oh wow.
So it came out in 89.
Wow.
And it does not look like it's definitely way behind in production values by the time you got to 89. So it is it's terrible. So yeah. So
would you say it's unwatchable?
I there is no reason to watch this movie.
Not even a little.
No, there's no reason. It's absolutely no. You want to do a double feature, which would cause an aneurysm. Watch it in Seminoid and sorry,
And just at the same time.
back to back. This I would give the sequel almost an F because it is somewhat watchable.
Okay.
Because it's got a lot more
So it's
comedy.
a little bit better than the first.
The comedy hits a little better, but not much. But yeah, so Cohen made a horrible movie and said, you know what? Let me make a sequel. So that's Saturday the 14th. So yeah, there you go. All right, now this is one of my guilty pleasures. Looker.
I haven't seen this one either.
This film is prophetic because the story is about a company that takes models, creates AI images of them, and then kills them.
Oh wow.
So they need to remake this film.
Predicting the future?
They need to remake this film. This film was the reason why it didn't do well, I think, is because it was because nobody believed this science could exist. And
Yeah, too far-fetched, right?
It's so crazy being someone, being from this era and seeing this film, this is fucking cool. Because I was a big Rob will tell you, I am sci-fi, I love cerebral sci-fi.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a fucking great concept. Miscast, Albert Finney is greatly miscast as the protagonist, but this film was, they always say, a film was way ahead of its time. That is such bullshit for most movies. This film was way ahead of its time. Way ahead of its
if
time.
you're talking about AI, it had to have been way
ahead of its time.
In 81.
So,
wow.
yeah. So let's take a look at Looker. So the concept is this plastic surgeon. All these models are like, I just don't look pretty anymore. Or they feel like they're being beat out by the competition. They see him, and he becomes aware of this plot where these girls are basically being killed and being replaced, and the killer is never seen. And then eventually he gets marked as the killer.
Okay.
And they have this cool weapon. I call it the mind paralyzation gun. So you'll see it in the coming attractions. They have a gun. Huh?
The girls from the Partridge Family.
Yeah. They use a gun that shoots you in the eyes, and it basically freezes your mind, and then you wake up a certain amount of time afterward.
Okay.
So there's a really cool scene where Albert Finney is fighting with the guys, and the guy is using the gun, so he's getting thrown all over, but you never see him get hit. They did a really good job with the choreography.
Okay.
But see, they shoot him when he's driving. So a lot of really cool concepts that were way ahead. Yeah, Susan Day was inside.
Susan Day, yeah.
It is a cult.
It's got a big
cult
cult
film
following.
now, yeah. It's only 94 minutes long. It cost $12 million to make. It only made $3 million.
Oh, wow.
So it was a huge
flop.
drop. Yeah. It predated Tron. Some of the effects that were used in it, many people believe, kind of inspired Tron.
Okay.
And you have to see the movie to understand that. Albert Finney as the protagonist was greatly miscast. Albert Finney is a phenomenal actor. I cannot tell you how much he's one of my favorite actors from the 80s.
Absolutely.
They tried to, and he was a sex symbol for a while, and he was a sex symbol in the 80s. That's why they put him in this film, because he was a sex symbol. If you compare sex symbols in the 80s to now, except for like Burt Reynolds and Robert Redford and a couple of most of the sex symbols, like you saw constantly like fat guys getting with really good looking women, and you're like, that doesn't happen. No. So anyway, the pre-King of Queens.
Pre-King of Queens.
I love the tagline, "If looks could kill." This was the precursor to AI, to show what AI could do. It's frightening, and I really believe that they remade this film today, it would be a hit.
Sounds like it.
So I think that if they did it, I think the best casting would be Hugh Jackman and Sydney Sweeney.
It's not a bad choice.
I think that would be because you want the lead actor to be a little older because he's a doctor, and you want the actress to be someone who would look like they were in the modeling industry. Sydney Sweeney can act. Hugh Jackman's amazing.
He is.
Make this movie and do it all about AI.
Yeah,
and no one knows this movie. I guarantee you could have 100 people in a room and say, "Who's seen Looker?" Raise your hand. Don't say anything else. Who's seen Looker? I'm like, Looker? What do you mean by Looker? The movie Looker. Nobody. Then you say, well, by Albert Finney. Nobody.
Yeah.
The one about the models getting killed. Nobody. The one about the light gun that paralyzes your brain. Nope. But it really is a good movie. It is a good movie, especially for its time. Now, the problem is.
Sounds like a C to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it. Rob. It's so. The problem is, I can't give it a C because it really is ahead of its time.
Okay.
The acting was fairly good. I do think Finney was miscast, but the acting is good.
But not the goat, though. Not a goat.
No, definitely not a goat. And the ending is really good. The ending of how they foil everything.
Give it an A. Yeah, it definitely sounds like it was before its time. If it was predicted.
Yeah, I got to give it an A just because creativity, like no one had done this before. And if it did spawn some of the effects of Tron, that's a big deal.
Well, it is a big deal.
So I'm going to give it an A. So, So that was Looker. Okay. So Tobe Hooper followed up Texas Chainsaw Massacre with The Funhouse.
The Funhouse. I haven't
Tobe
seen this one either.
Hooper has a thing for inbreeding.
Yeah.
All of his movies, right?
Inbreeders, yeah, pretty much.
Tobe, we got to talk.
Tobe, yeah, what's going on, brother?
We got to talk. This film, worldwide gross was $8 million. They don't have a budget, but it opened. It opened at $2 million, which is pretty good for an opening.
Not bad.
Oh, it was $2 million. So it made its budget. It was $2 million.
$2 million. Okay.
It made its budget opening weekend, and then it dropped off. This is one of those films where the cover was misleading because there's no clowns in it.
No clowns?
No clowns at all.
Okay.
And it wasn't really that gory. It was kind of kiddish in the gore. But I will tell you, it has some very tough scenes to watch. Like, Tobe did a great job of drawing out the kills. So there's one kill in a vent system, and he did it in such a way that you think, oh, she might escape, or she may like talk the killer out of killing him.
But no.
It doesn't happen, but it's very well done. It's the highlight of the film. It is based on a novelization by Dean Koontz. Dean Koontz, a lot of people call him.
Writer.
Yeah, a lot of people call him the Timu Stephen King.
TV, yeah.
I don't think he is.
They've actually collaborated on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, Koontz is just a different writer. I think some of his books are better than King. I think some of them are worse.
So this Funhouse is based on a Dean Koontz book?
No, he did the novelization. A lot of times when a film gets done, they end up making a novelization of it.
Okay.
But I didn't realize this is Tobe Hooper's litany. I didn't know he made all these movies.
Wow.
He did Poltergeist, which I forgot, which is a goat.
Yep.
He did Texas Chainsaw Massacre, goat. He did Life Force, which is damn near close to goat. It's one of the best vampire films. I've never seen Mortuary. Salem's Lot was terrible.
Yeah. The book was good.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre. No one's gotten Salem's Lot right yet.
No, they have not.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 was actually pretty good too. It was definitely different. Hey, Heather. It was definitely different. I never saw Body Bags. We'll probably be watching that one. I haven't seen Mortuary, but these are all the films he made in the 80s.
Wow.
So there's how many? What's that? 9 films? No, 7.
About 7.
So he made 7 films in 9 years.
Wow.
Well, this came before the 80s, so he actually made 6 films. So I respect what he was trying to do, but this film has problems. And let's watch the trailer to see. So there are no clowns in this film. Please be aware there's no clowns. You'll recognize a couple of the actors. He was in The Quick and the Dead. He played the guy who was like the pedophile that she ends up killing.
So does he have a kind of a House of a Thousand Corpses vibe? Or is
that would be a complete insult to that. This is the scene I was telling you about, which is really drawn out. And this is a very powerful scene. Just to her experiencing the fear. I think I agree with the critics. He should have stayed in the Frankenstein outfit. Well, they should have kept him in the Frankenstein.
I was going to ask you, did they actually show the killer?
They do.
So he stays in the...
Andrew Lazo was the director photographer. He did a lot of cool effects, as you can see, to create the film. There's also an additional TV cut that had more footage, but obviously they took away some of the more gory kills. The kills are not gory. Which,
they look very campy. Very
it's not just campy; they're just
kiddish,
weak.
Weak, yeah.
They're weak. And there is a final girl. The killer is an inbred monster who's obsessed with sex. So he tries to rape and kills a psychic, and then they get stuck in the fun house, and he goes after them. There's also a kid who serves no purpose, but he actually does a Halloween. I really I take off points because whether he's doing it as an homage or a parody, the beginning sequence is right off of Halloween with the kid with the mask. And it ends up being a prank. But that's how he kind of excuses it. But it's like, dude, that's like a little much. But here is the killer.
Oh, okay.
It's a mask. The mouth doesn't move.
It's just a static
It's a static mask.
Wow.
That's why I said it would have been cool for him to wear the Frankenstein outfit, because that was...
And
maybe do this reveal at the very end.
But that's supposed to be his actual face.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they go the extra mile to make the mouth move?
There was not a lot of budget on this.
Wow.
So, what was it, $2 million?
Because I don't think that's that horrible looking, but
no, if they had done makeup effects, or if they had done the Jaws thing and waited to the end to show this,
yes,
I think it would have been like just that's the final reveal. And you see, and then it cuts to black. Yeah, that would have been cool. But that's Gunther. His name is Gunther. Notice a lot of people don't cosplay Gunther.
Nobody cosplays Gunther.
So the guy who played Gunther was actually a mime named Wayne Doba.
Wow.
And if you watch the film, I will give him credit. If the makeup was right, the way he moves around as a monster is
Good.
Awesome. He's the second mime that played a killer, I think maybe in this countdown. But very well-known mime, but he played Gunther. And a couple other fun facts.
Please tell us.
Yes. It's a cat and mouse style slasher.
Mm-hmm.
Way too much filler. This thing drags. It drags. Kevin Conway, who played the Barker, he's known for a lot of films. I know him most from The Quick and the Dead, as I mentioned before.
Okay.
And the fact that the whole thing about this killer is he's obsessed with sex. Because the girl, remember the scene I told you about? She tries to say, "Listen, I'll be yours. You can use me for whatever."
Oh, okay, yeah. Try to bargain with sex.
But it is. It's not a great movie. However, Rob Zombie apparently likes this film because he had it showing in Halloween Kills on the TV.
Oh, wow.
One of the scenes, so he
Okay.
apparently likes the film. Most people are pissed off because when you saw this cover
Yeah, you think it's
in
a clown
the
killer.
VHS in Blockbuster as a VHS, you would think it was a clown movie.
Killer, yeah.
It's not. Even the visuals at the beginning of the movie for the title credits uses clowns.
Wow.
Why wasn't at least put Gunther in a clown costume?
Yeah.
Again, I think if they would have done, I agree with you, Rob. If they would have done him in the costume and then at the final reveal, that would have freaked everybody out. Yep.
Unwatchable?
It's not.
Is it even worth a sit down?
It's not unwatchable.
It's worth a sit down.
If you like horror and you like Tobe,
Okay.
so I'm going to give it an F.
If it is.
I can't. It's not unwatchable. I watched it and I didn't.
Would you want to watch it again?
Oh no!
Okay.
But
the first one was
like Inseminoid was torture. Saturday 14 was torture. This one was not torture. I was like intrigued on what was going to happen next. Inseminoid, after the first one, I'm like, this is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Saturday 14, I'm like, this is not funny.
Yeah.
But this film, it actually kept me on the line. So that's a thing.
Yeah. Unwatchable to me is after you say I just wasted an hour and a half of my life and I'll never get it back.
Yeah. It's
F to me is I watched it, but I won't watch it again.
Yeah. My Bloody Valentine. This is another Canadian feature, and guess what? Same production company that did Happy Birthday to Me.
Oh well, yeah. It kind of has that feel, doesn't it?
This film,
The Miner.
when it came out, they cut a ton of the kills because it was so gory.
They wouldn't let him.
They put it back in, and you can tell that the kills are slightly unfinished because they look different, but they're fucking
Because
amazing.
they're taken out and put back in.
This film,
Wow.
besides
Yeah.
the first four Freddy's, not Freddy's, Jason's. The first two Halloweens.
Mm-hmm.
On the first, I wanted to do the first Halloween because it kills the second Halloween. And films like Maniac, this has some of the best kills. They are gory.
They're good.
There's a scene where a spike goes through the back of the head, comes out the eye. I mean, it's gory. So let's take a look at My Bloody Valentine, which, again, you're going to ask yourself, why is it in a mine? And I'll explain that in a second, because I was like, why the fuck is a Valentine movie in a mine?
That was a little perplexing, but I think the killer miner was a good concept. Nobody had done that.
It was definitely a good killer. And actually, this was one of the ones that inspired The Killer in Your It, because we were trying to do something so different. I thought this was a good killer. The acting is not horrible. It is pretty much atrocious. The characters are somewhat engaging. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't take long to launch at all. The story is that there was a Valentine dance. Some miners got trapped. They died, and so the guy's pissed off, and he comes back. Mm-hmm. They use him as a red herring throughout the film, and you find out at the end it's the best friend, which is a great twist.
Good twist.
It ends up being the guy's best friend, which you were not expecting at all. You thought it was the miner coming back from the dead. Mm-hmm. They played it very well. It was done very well. It was difficult to film because it was filmed in real working coal mines in Sydney, Nova Scotia.
Oh, that must have been a nightmare.
Some of the mines were as deep as 2,700 feet underground. So this was not an easy shoot.
They talked the actors into that.
I had no idea. The MPA cut 9 minutes of footage to avoid an X rating. Despite efforts to restore the film, some scenes, including a particular graphic death, remain missing. There are some, the ones they put back in, you can tell they put back in, but
Was
it's
the
definitely
X
worth
because
it.
of nudity or because of graphic violence?
Graphic violence.
Okay.
It was
wow.
very graphic. It's one of the more graphic. This to me is true slasher. Like,
yes, it is. Oh,
this
absolutely.
Is, we're
100% slasher.
Friday the 13th, the first one was pretty gruesome.
Yeah, it was.
But when you go,
The kills.
and I know I'm going to argue about this, but I feel like it's more of a horror film than a slasher film. You could argue that with me, and I could see both points. I feel like Jason started kind of the slasher element
It
of it.
did.
But this, to me, stands toe-to-toe with some of the best slashers out there.
Oh, 100%.
For the time. It would not stand up against Terrifier or the gore porn that we have now, but for this time period, it was...
You see quite a few people cosplaying the killer from this movie.
And they look great.
They do.
They also, I do appreciate the director. He actually kept the killer's identity secret from the cast until the end.
That's a good move.
So this is one of Quentin Tarantino's favorite movies.
Wow. That's saying a lot.
So, yep. And in the group shower scene, everybody was naked. Although they were filmed from chest up, they were all naked. I don't know if I would agree to that.
Wow, that's everybody had to get in there together and just.
It's mentioned in a lot of pop culture in this film, as you mentioned, Rob.
Mm-hmm.
They restored the version in 2009. But some scenes got lost on the cutting room floor, which is sad.
Yeah, to lose him completely is very sad.
Yeah, so Canada had one of their best years in horror films in 1981. Don Franks, the guy who plays the cop.
Dun, dun, dun.
You know what he did, Rob?
Tell me.
What's his Star Wars connection?
Oh, he's just connected.
He's connected to Star Wars. How was he connected to Star Wars, Rob?
Tell me.
He was the first one to voice Boba Fett.
Really?
And he did so in the holiday special, that's unwatchable.
Yes, it is.
But that cartoon was really good. The cartoon in the middle was really good. But he was the first one to voice Boba Fett on screen. So let's talk about our kill count. I need to add this to. I'm gonna start adding this to the other.
To the
ones.
kill counts.
I didn't do it. I will do it going forward.
There's quite a few.
So this one has the most. It's number for the 80s. It is the 1, 2. It is fourth. It was fourth in line. So, which movie had the most kill? Which horror movie had the most kills?
Which movie or which franchise?
Which movie in the 80s? Which horror movie?
Wow. I want to say one of the Friday the 13th movies, but I'm probably wrong.
Which one?
Part 3?
Yep.
2?
Yep.
6. No, 6 wasn't it.
You gotta give me their names. I didn't write down their. We gave me the title of the movie.
Oh, the final chapter?
Nope. Jason Takes Manhattan.
No,
1989.
that's got the most kills?
24.
Wow.
In second place was Friday the 13th, The New Beginning. 1985 had 19 kills. Jason Lives in 1986 had 18 kills. And then this film had 16.
Wow. So, I know that Jason reigns with total kills of all time. But, yeah, that's...
The sequel
Manhattan, I would not have picked Manhattan. I didn't think that had the most.
No, I wouldn't have thought that either.
Wow.
I actually would have thought the first movie had the most.
Yeah.
And notice there's no other like that's it. Those are the 4 films. So we're gonna review a lot of horror films.
A lot
of slasher films too.
Mm-hmm.
And I did by horror. I didn't do by slasher. I did by horror. There was a sequel that was never made. It was going to be called Return of the Miner.
Wow.
There was a 2009 remake that did meh.
Was it called My Bloody Valentine?
Yeah.
Or called something? Okay.
And there is currently a new film in the making, but I didn't see
another reboot or a sequel.
They didn't say. They've been wanting to make a sequel for some time, but yeah,
they should have.
Yeah. So, yep. So, wow, Rob, this film, I personally think is a GOAT because it was so gory. The MPA cut out scenes that we will never see. It follows all the slasher tropes. It's iconic in its costume.
It is iconic.
No one's ever done that before.
True.
The way it was filmed, I think it's a GOAT, man.
Yeah, I'm not gonna argue on that one.
Okay, I think it's a GOAT.
I think it is a GOAT.
Have we exceeded the 80 now? We have 3 GOATs. We have 3 GOATs.
I think we have exceeded.
Do we have 3? Did we have 3 GOATs last
I
time?
have 4.
Goats?
No, we didn't have 4. We had more A's. That's
Yeah.
right. Goats, I think we only had 2.
This is much more even.
Yeah, goats we had 2, I think, in 80.
Yeah, this is much more even.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys, hang in there. We're getting there.
We're getting there.
This was the most disappointing movie to me, Wolfen. I was so excited about this. This is a film that did a phenomenal job with its ad campaign,
But
and then didn't deliver. This is the second film Albert Finney's in our countdown. Ernest Borgnine was in 3?
3, yes.
3. So I'm going to show you. This was one of the trailers, but it was known for its innovative visual effects. They used in-camera effects to depict the point of view of the wolf creature, a technique that influenced later films like Predator.
Wow.
The film utilized urban decay of South Bronx as backdrop. There's a lot of guerrilla filming in South Bronx. Tom Waits makes an appearance as a drunken bar owner. The director's cut exceeded 4 hours, which was trimmed down. I don't know if I could have watched a 4-hour version. The budget was $17 million and it only made 11. It doesn't surprise me. The fact this was made for $17 million, I think Albert Finney was $16 million of that. Because there's no way they made Escape from New York for $6 million and made this one for 17.
That's all there is.
It had to be the location filming. Again, if you look at the trailers,
that's all there is to the trailer.
Yeah, that's one of the trailers. Like I said, I couldn't get. If you look at the trailers, it looks like a werewolf movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's your monster. It's a big dog.
A big old dog.
It's a big dog. They use real wolves.
Big old dog.
But it was a pack of wolves that were, I think, possessed or influenced by Native American tribes that were pissed off that they were building on that land. And so they started striking back against this guy, this rich guy, white guy. You guys know the story. The problem is it's a really good detective story up to the point the wolves show up. It reminds me of X-Men Origins Wolverine. Like the first half of the movie is great. The rest of it is like, shit. It runs about 114 minutes. What is that? That's almost 2 hours.
114 minutes?
That's
Yeah, it's almost 2 hours.
Jeez, it feels like it.
Wow.
Guys. Rob, I got to tell you, this movie sucks.
Unwatchable?
It's not unwatchable. Is it unwatchable?
Would you regret
I
your
will
2
never
hours?
watch it again.
Do you regret your 2 hours
Yeah.
spent? Yeah, so it's got to be
give it a Z.
It's got to be a Z.
And I will get, if you talk to legitimate, because Rob and I are not legitimate horror critics, we'll tell you that off the bat.
No.
A legitimate horror critic will tell you this is an amazing movie. And
Really?
That tells you
amazing.
That's why you shouldn't listen to horror critics.
Yeah.
Had they done this was evidently influenced by Jaws because you don't find out about the killer. They do a lot of POV shots, a lot of pull shots like they did in the Boogans or Boggins or whatever the hell it was. Boogans. Man, it's bad. It's just bad. It's such a disappointment.
Yeah.
I don't know if they could have done it better either. I've racked my brain. Could they have done it better? Because Cujo pulled it off. With a friendly dog. They had to tie the dog's tail down.
Yeah.
This one they didn't. And I think they could have pulled it off if the dog were rabid, if they used maybe some practical effects, maybe some puppet dogs or whatever.
Stuff,
or they just went, why not skin? Well, they hint that they're skinwalkers, but they're wolves. And I get that if you ever heard about Skinwalker Ranch, that some of the skinwalkers actually show up as giant wolves.
Wolves, yeah.
But had they done like maybe a mid version, like an actual werewolf version, maybe it would have done better.
What was their budget?
It was expensive. I just told you. I
think I fell asleep during that time.
$17 million. Wow. That gets a Z.
That's a big budget.
Fucking waste of money.
Wow.
Could you imagine what they would have done with that money within Seminoid?
Oh.
Anyway. All right. So now we're getting into the big days. You guys, for those of you who hung out long enough, you're going to be well rewarded. For those of you guys who left, fuck you. You're missing the good stuff.
Yes.
Halloween 2. Budget $2.5 million. Made $27 million. Opening weekend almost $8 million. It was released in 1,200 theaters. Worldwide gross was over $25 million. It's at the perfect runtime, that 90-minute runtime, which is the sweet spot for horror films.
Yep.
And it was a great follow-up.
It was perfect follow-up.
Now, Rob, here's where you have to help me. Is this the one where they established that Lori was his sister?
Or wasn't it? She wasn't his sister. Was and then wasn't.
Yeah, but she was.
I can't remember when it was established. To be honest with you,
It was.
but I know
Lori Rhodes, right? Was her name?
Rhodes. Yeah, it started out. She was supposed to be a sister, then it turned out she's not supposed to be a sister. And then that whole thing was very confusing.
Yeah. So in the 1978 film, she was not the sister.
Right.
Judith, who he killed in the opening scene. We all know that, right?
Yes. He did kill his sister, and then
It was revealed in the sequel that they are sister and brother, but she never knew. I hate that. I really hate when they made this. I don't like. I love the films, but and this was not, by the way, Carpenter produced it, but he did not direct it. He swapped out. He did write he co-wrote the screenplay with Deborah Hill, but he didn't want a sequel because he wanted to do the anthology.
a different film every time. Yeah.
And I personally think they told Carpenter, listen, we'll do a bookend story where he didn't die in the end, and he dies in this one. We'll kind of do like a sequel.
Right.
I thought it was stupid. I thought the ending was so good in the first one.
It was.
This was straight slasher. Where the first one was so creative in the kills, not a lot of gore. It was scary. This was straight out balls to the wall. Where if they said that Halloween inspired Friday the 13th, I feel like Jason inspired Halloween too. I feel like it was reciprocal.
That's good. I agree with that.
Yep. It was going to be 3D. Thank God it was not.
It was going to be 3D.
Production budget, let's see the difference, Rob. The original budget for Halloween 1 was $320,000. This was $2.5 million.
Wow.
All right, let's go with the trailer.
Let's see the trailer.
So this, I love this trailer. This simple trailer. Because one, you got the music, which immediately gets the hair standing up. This is back when trailers did it for you, because you didn't think there was going to be a sequel, and you get that iconic skull in the pumpkin. One of the best trailers ever made. I don't care what anybody says. It is one of the just so freaking spooky.
Yeah, big time.
And the way Jason dies is cool.
Jason.
Michael, sorry, thank you. But this was it. This was the trailer.
Yeah,
and
the
I
trailer,
guarantee you more people went to see this movie because of that than giving anything else because they're like, oh shit, what are they going to do next?
Just that music.
Yeah.
That is the most iconic music, horror music of any movie. Even though I'm partial to Jason, that music is just...
And it came out on October 30th, which I thought was awesome. It was a great way to market it. I think that probably this and the Exorcist theme are probably the two most iconic horror themes.
Most recognizable, most iconic, yes. Because Jason's not really
the director was Rick Rosenthal. And Rosenthal did this movie and did not come back until Halloween Resurrection, which was terrible.
Yeah, it was not a good movie.
Which is sad because this movie was really good. And he also did Ruskies and Bad Boys. I haven't seen those movies, but is it a go?
Oh, no. It's definitely.
You think it is?
I think it is, man.
You think it's better than the first?
Oh, no.
Then it can't be a goat.
You're right.
So.
They can't be goats together?
No. No, there's going to be one that might be.
It's a hell of a movie. I'd watch it over and over, but yeah.
I don't think it's a goat.
The first one is absolutely the goat.
I don't think if you compare the first
that franchise, the first one is definitely the goat.
I think it's when the stuff started going because they went, okay, we're just going to make slashers. Yeah. I mean, they lost everything that Carpenter had done with the first film. So, all right, next up,
my boy.
The Howling.
The best werewolf movie ever made. The best. I know what you're going to say. You don't have to say it.
Rick Baker would disagree with you. The guy who did
But you want to talk about the best special effects for his time. Holy shit.
There was a movie that beat it. It was the same
I don't know, man.
No, that thing, because you could tell that Baker was working on that transformation scene and finished it and brought it over.
I know.
But that kind of makes it unfair. But anyway, let's go ahead and watch The Howling, which is an amazing movie. This was box office was $18 million. Its budget was only 1.5.
Wow.
Once again, sweet spot, 91 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It has a really cool serial killer element
It does.
with the smiley face killer, who, by the way, appears in Gremlins.
Huh?
It appears in Gremlins,
Wow.
the sticker. And Joe Dante
okay.
has said there was that connection. So the Howling universe may occur in the Gremlins universe.
Huh.
It did fantastic. Rick Baker was the special effects guy who left to go work on American Werewolf in London. So that's why the effects look so similar.
Well, no, they didn't try to sue him for taking the
because
look.
they were friends. I didn't think they were. Dee Wallace, who is, by the way, that the scene where the people the two are lovemaking and they become the werewolves.
Mm-hmm.
They did animation with that. If you watch it, they added animation in there.
Really?
If you watch it closely, it's animated because
So now
shadows.
I'm going to have to go back and watch
It's animated. Yeah, it's really, really cool.
Look for
The werewolves did look cool in this, though. There's no
they're
doubt about it.
completely cool.
And I love the ending. The ending is one of the in the horror echelon of endings. This is one of the better ones.
Yes, it is.
I just don't know. The only thing I could think of is the reason why she converted is because she had sex with her husband after he got bit.
But, yeah.
Because that's only because she wasn't bit, and you don't see her get cut.
No, that's got to be the way it's transferred.
Yeah. So
But
this
the
was the scene that
transformation,
Rob
look
was
at that.
talking about.
Look at that.
That to me is unfinished.
Look at that.
Even though it looks great, if you
Well,
compare it to American
for
Lifelong.
1981.
Yeah, but if you compare it to American Werewolf in London, it's not. You can tell, but I mean, it still looks
Look at
amazing.
that, though. 81, man. That's just.
Yeah. I believe this is the VHS trailer because I don't think they showed this much in the actual movie trailer because it gives away a lot more, especially the ending.
Mm-hmm.
But it spawned the worst sequels ever.
I don't think none of the sequels.
I don't think there's another franchise that spawned
that many bad
more
ones.
horrible sequels than The Howling, which is a shame. Because, Christopher Lloyd was in the second, and he disavows them.
Was he in the second one?
He apologized to Joe Dante.
Did he?
Yep.
Wow.
Because Wallace did that screen at the end herself. They were going to dub it, and she said, no, I want to do that screen.
Wow.
So Rick Baker, here's the comparison. You can see on the bottom is Baker's work on The Howling, which again, that werewolf looks insane.
Insane.
And then you got here, what I will respect about Baker, and this is maybe why they didn't fight, is the werewolf end result looks nothing like that.
Oh, no, it's totally different.
So you had a quad
That was
pedal,
part of the
you had a quad, quad, what do they call it when you're walking all fours?
Quadruped.
Quadruped werewolf here,
Yeah.
and you had a biped here.
Biped there, yeah. I like the biped better.
So it's really is, but this transformation is still to this day in American Werewolf London one of the greatest.
I'm not disputing that, but
no, I know.
One in the Howling is.
I know how much I love it. So Joe Dante, as you know, went on to make a lot of movies in the 80s. He did Piranha, The Burbs, which I know was the 80s, Gremlins, Inner Space, Explorers, and Amazon on the Moon. The only one I haven't seen is Amazon on the Moon.
He did The Burbs?
He did The Burbs,
Wow.
which is a great movie, minus Corey Feldman.
Yeah.
Gremlins is a good movie, minus Corey Feldman. But Gremlins...
Ron, are you a Corey Feldman fan?
I am a huge Corey Feldman fan. I want to pay $100 for his autograph. Anyway, Gremlins, you will see the sticker from Smiley Face Killer.
I got to look for that too.
And then Dante did it on purpose. Inner Space is very good too. If you get a chance, Dennis Quaid and Martin Short.
Oh, where he gets stuck with the needle with the
phenomenal.
Oh, great movie. Yeah.
Wasn't Explorers was the one that he's really upset about because he felt like it was unfinished, and it does feel that way. Haven't seen that one, and Piranha.
What is that?
Amazon on the Moon.
Oh.
Piranha is a good film as well, but Dante had a good.
Isn't Piranha like just a big cheese movie?
It's basically Jaws with small fish.
Okay, but it's done well because I've not seen.
Yeah,
it.
it's all right.
Okay.
It's all right. It's all right. So Rob wants this to be.
So you and I are going to have to fight about whether that gets to be the GOAT or Werewolf in London gets to be the GOAT.
It's very possible they both could be.
Can they both be GOATs? Being werewolf movies?
I'm going to get because Rob.
It's got to be a GOAT.
My bestest friend
in the world.
I'm going to give him.
It's got to be the GOAT for me. I mean, it is for me.
It's definitely a GOAT movie because one. It was the first horror film that did bipedal werewolves right.
Yes.
It was scary. It had some dark comedy, And I told you that animation scene they do with the werewolves because they didn't have the,
Now I got to go back
the
and
budget to finish it.
I've got to go back and look
Yeah,
at
they
that
didn't
so I
have
can
the
see
budget to finish
that.
it. So I think that's in there too because they had. Due to financial limitations, some scenes were filmed in unconventional locations. For instance, the final transformation scene was shot in director John Dante's office as the producer had run out of money and couldn't afford another set. And they do an animation scene where the two are making love and
That's funny.
and become the werewolf. So no, I'll give you a goat on that.
Okay.
I'll give you a goat. All right, Evil Dead, the first one.
Talking about the first one.
Sam Raimi's signature piece, which started all.
Started it up.
Let's take a look at Evil Dead. So here we have a domestic gross of $2.4 million. It grossed a total at $4.4 million, and the budget was $350. So it definitely was a success. It's one of Stephen King's favorite movies. It runs 85 minutes.
Is it one of King's favorite movies?
One of his favorite. He highly endorsed. In fact, he helped get the movie made.
Wow.
There's a great documentary called Long Live the Deadites or something that has all the information. Sam Raimi, of course, his innovative film techniques are well renowned. The creature effects, the camp with the horror, which mixed perfectly. It's one of the few films that's pulled that off. Very harsh filming conditions. Literally, it was an abandoned cabin with no amenities. It was hot. It was nasty. And of course, Bruce Campbell launched his career.
Yeah, it did.
Stephen King's endorsement of the film gained significant attention after renowned author Stephen King praised it as the most ferociously original horror film of the year, without a doubt. He did that in Twilight Zone magazine. It also was part of the video Nasties, no surprise there. A lot of stop motion, which films are moving away from, and Sam Raimi loves stop motion.
I think stop motion is so cool.
When it's done right. It can look really bad, but when it's done right. But for me, when I was a kid, I didn't watch this when I was a teenager. This movie scared the fuck out of me. It's
pretty scary.
Yeah.
Pretty damn scary.
And the effects were so gory.
They were.
But I didn't really appreciate this film until I got older. But yeah, a lot of blood. And there was no shower, so you know those people were just nasty.
Yes.
So just unbelievable. But yeah, so and the Deadite mythos has lived long beyond the film. And
I believe Jason's a Deadite.
Jason was supposed to be a Deadite in Jason Goes to Hell. But that got scrapped, which is unfortunate, but that would make perfect sense.
I think that would fit in so well with that franchise for him to be a Deadite.
100%. So, but many people said Stephen King saved this film. But and it has that really harsh tree grape scene with the molesting tree, which actually shows up in Cabin by the lake. Yeah, they actually had that. And they had the Deadites in that film as well. They don't call them Deadites. Spawned several sequels. I think all the sequels. I don't think it's got a bad sequel. I haven't seen
the newest one.
I didn't see the new one. I heard that's not good, but I did. Evil Dead Rise was not bad. I should change that. I do think that the reboot got panned, but Evil Dead Rise is not a reboot; it's a sequel. I think the other was a reboot. So, as far as pure sequels, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's done a pretty good job, and I love the third one.
What's the one where he gets cast into is it the past?
Yeah, that's
is that the third one?
That's my favorite.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's Army of Darkness.
Army of Darkness, yeah.
So, and then they made the series, which I haven't seen. I have
not seen the series either.
Evil Dead. So, this is one of the longest running franchises, and think about it, it's such humble beginnings. Probably the humblest beginnings of any horror film. And came back with passion. But I'm going to surprise you, Rob, on this one.
Who are you?
I don't think this is a goat.
Really?
I think
no.
I really believe the sequel, which is kind of a reboot, is the better film.
Wow.
I think the sequel's a better film. So you tell me.
So the OG's not the goat, it's
I
the
think
sequel.
the sequel is a better film. I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for that, for the three people that are watching.
I don't know if I agree with that, but...
Yeah, this one's going to be hard because I do not think it's a goat.
Oh, yeah, that very much surprises me.
Number 2 is a goat.
I just knew you were going to say this was a goat.
But I think that I don't know if
why so much the second one over the first one?
The second one's a better made film.
Just for being better
It's better
made.
made film, yeah. Better made. I feel like they got their feet under them. They knew what they were doing, and they made. I feel like it's like when Lucas remade the Star Wars films. I don't think Sam Raimi feels right, but it's almost like the first one was not fully finished,
Right.
and the second one's a finished product. But
So you don't think they both can be good?
they might be. We'll see. We're gonna give it a go. Again, I think that for all the reasons.
Because it in itself was so cool and so different.
No, I mean
it was
from being what it came from to what it became.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you cannot give it a go. Even though I do think the second one is better, I don't think you can take away from that. So, man, we got all the goats.
a lot of good.
All right,
Better year for
2 more to
movies.
go. Now, this is one of my favorite films, American Werewolf on London.
Oh, it's one of mine too, but I just I like Wolfen better.
This is the one that Rick Baker
I like
left.
the Howling better.
Yeah, he. This one was budget was $5.8 million, and it grossed $30 million, and then eventually went to gross $62 million. So I think it's one of the most successful horror films of its time. And of course, I think it's got some of the best zombie effects too, with Griffin Dunn slowly being decaying. I thought the concept of him being haunted by the people he killed, and then until he kills himself, they stay kind of this living dead, this purgatory kind of place.
They did.
Which I think added a whole different dimension. They did have real wolves in the set.
They did.
Actual
wolves
for that scene when he was in the zoo. This was John Landis, and I believe I'm correct. I hate this director.
John Landis?
I'll tell you one second.
Very iconic.
Yeah, he's iconic for the wrong reasons. I may be wrong, though. I want to be careful. Yep. The acting was fantastic.
It was.
This was one, I think, is a superior horror film because the acting, I think acting is much better in Howling. Howling's a little more cheesy and campy, but it was meant to be. This is still a dark comedy. There's a lot of dark comedy. The Nazi werewolf scene is horrific. His battle with becoming. The only thing that I thought was unrealistic, but I'm going to give it a buy, is the whole romance. Felt very rushed.
Yeah.
It made her feel like she was desperate because he wasn't that cute.
I don't know.
But I do like the whole him being haunted. That's
good,
the first time ever. I don't think a werewolf story's done that since.
No.
I do think the sitting in the porn theater scene lessens it. I don't think that was necessary. I know they were trying to go with the times, but they could have done that scene anywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
And I thought that him being an adult, and he wasn't going to adult theater for any other reason, but he just kind of wandered in there because he was following.
It could have been anywhere.
And so what was Griffin done? He's a pervert in the afterlife. So again, this is where I think the 80s had a lot of sexualization that was completely unnecessary. I love the scene in the subway. It's fantastic. The build-up of suspense. I thought the ending was slightly anticlimactic. It could have been a little better. This is also the first werewolf movie that I've seen where silver wasn't used.
Yeah, that's right.
The Howling, they used silver, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or decapitation or whatever, yeah. But yeah, you can't deny that. This is you could tell Rick Baker had perfected what he was trying to do.
What would you have done differently with the ending? What would you think would have been better?
I would have had to kill the girl.
Just kill. Okay.
Yeah. I would have had to kill the girl, realize what he had done,
right,
and then have him turn back and holding her, and they kill him. Or left it where he's holding her and they just surround him or something.
Just leave it at that.
At the end, yeah, because that would have been much more tragic. But it was still a good ending.
So you wanted a missed ending.
Yes, definitely wanted a missed ending. And then Rick Mile made a cameo. He was a comedian. He was the second chess player in the pub scene.
Rick who?
I also liked the subplot with the slaughtered lamb. I thought that was good and all the characters. It's just made a horrible sequel, by the way. Horrible sequel.
Well, that's funny because I didn't know it had a sequel.
Yep, American Werewolf in Paris, I think it was.
Oh, it was in Paris?
So let me tell you about John Landis. John Landis directed the infamous scene in the Twilight Zone movie, where it was Vietnam and a helicopter killed 2 kids and an actor. Landis made that happen. Landis made that happen. He brought kids on set that should have been on set. He violated rules with that. He pushed the actor too far. He pushed the effects too far. And that's why...
He was never
Landis,
charged or never sued?
He was charged and he went to court, but he got off.
And he got sued as well, didn't he, by the families?
I believe so. I don't know if they
won.
won.
What happened with that?
Hold on. Thickenborough's settlement was $850,000.
Yeah,
but Landis would be definitely below a Z in my book. But if you ever want to look up, I mean, you got to be prepared because there are some pretty graphic videos. But it decapitated all three of them.
Mm-hmm.
So the helicopter crash and decapitated. It's awful. Of course, the werewolf in the film. Beautiful construction.
Oh, yeah.
Again, it was a quadruped.
Awesome.
I remember when I first saw the movie, I didn't like the werewolf. It looked like a bear.
It did look like a bear.
But
it still does.
Yeah, it looked like what a werewolf. If you're going for the werewolf, and again, not killed by Silver, they just shot him.
I just always liked.
And it inspired a musician.
Oh yeah, Warren Zevon.
Nope, Michael Jackson.
Oh, I thought you were going to tell me about the song "Werewolves in London."
No. All right, guys, we're finally here.
My boy,
longer one.
My boy. I do this one. I should have dressed up for. I should have had it.
Friday the 13th, part 2.
Deuce.
The introduction of Jason as Sackhead, the OG Jason.
The OG.
Let's jump right to this trailer, shall we?
Let's jump right to the trailer.
Jump right to the trailer. And this is where we go full slasher. Although, again, I know people give me shit all the time because I call it first in a horror film. It is technically a slasher, but
I think it's both.
Yep. This is Adrienne King, the girl who played the final girl in the first film, was so briefly seen in this film, and the question was why. There's been a lie made that it was a contract disagreement. It was not. She was so heavily stalked after the first one by fans that she couldn't take it, so she asked to be killed off right away.
She had one or two in particular that stalked her really hard.
Yep. She acted, that's how bad.
I apologize.
Cell phones.
Apologize.
It was directed by Steve Miner, written by Ron Kurtz. It runs 87 minutes, sweet spot. Budget was $1.25 million, and it grossed $22 million. Mm-hmm. Its opening weekend, Rob,
what was
almost $7 million.
Wow, that's a huge weekend, in fact, for 81.
Yep.
And it was
Jason's debut. But yeah, it's really sad that now she's embraced it now. I think she goes to cons and stuff.
Oh, she definitely goes to cons. I've seen her.
At that time, it was that bad. Could you imagine being that bad and you leave a franchise? Because I'm sure they probably would have killed her off in the second movie.
They would kill her off anyway, but not that quickly. No.
Yeah,
and they killed a handicapped guy. Yeah, how dare you?
Have they done that in a film before?
I don't know. I don't think they have.
That was. Yes, it is Brandon.
Jason's an equal opportunity killer. Yeah. He didn't care if you're handicapped.
No.
She's one of the iconic final girls.
Who was the one that passed? The girl from the sixth, right? She was the one that
Part 6 to play Tina.
Yeah, that's sad. That is sad. She passed this year. But just an amazing. I don't like slasher films. Rob Tatus. This is definitely.
Even though he made a slasher film, he doesn't like slasher films.
Doesn't make any fucking sense whatsoever.
I think this version of Jason was the most vulnerable. As far as
this is before all the bullshit happened.
Oh yeah.
This was the serial. This is the one that you're scared of. That comes like Michael Myers.
Right. That can happen. Yes.
And all that. Then they went like you and I said, did I run with him? Yeah. But he dies in this one, right?
Well.
But then he comes back.
The last part, he's crashing through the window with the machete in his shoulder, getting ready to grab her, and that's how. So we don't know if that was.
Yeah, her.
They leave it kind of up in the air.
So a couple of facts about the Friday the 13th. Gillette. Warren Gillette's given credit, but the person who played Jason the most was
Steve Dash.
Yep. So
he's part 2. I mean, they both actually. Steve Dash is the one that comes crashing through the. I'm not Steve. I'm sorry. Warren is the one that comes crashing through the window. But most of when he's got the sack on his dash.
I don't think he was. Dash is not credited due to contractual issues.
Most Friday the 13th fans will tell you Steve Dash is part 2 Jason. Period.
We talk about Mr. Kane Hodder pretty soon, too. Yeah. Adrienne King was the young lady, so you guys can see she was the actress who survived the first one, died in the second early because of the stalking issue, which is so sad.
With Jason's mom's head in the refrigerator.
Yeah. So, But yeah, absolutely.
That was a really good part of that, a well thought out part where she tried to fool Jason into thinking she was his mom.
Yeah, that's what
that
I'm
was
saying.
a great scene.
It wasn't, people don't realize that the tropey stuff, the real trophies, these guys were building the horror, the slasher genre, the subgenre, as Brandon calls it. So tropes weren't tropes.
No, they weren't then.
Tropes became tropes.
Sure
and what
did.
happened was you could tell, evidently, that other horror films were trying to copy, but when you try to copy something that iconic, you're not going to come out looking good.
I'm glad you put that up there without me saying.
Oh, it's hell yeah. That's GOAT.
That's OG.
That's GOAT. So anyway, that is our countdown. So let's take a look again. Let me get our pictures out of here.
Yes.
So you guys can see the countdown without our beautiful faces.
Beautiful. You heard that right.
Yep. And so let's take a look. So our GOATs are Scanners, Escape from New York, My Bloody Valentine.
What's she saying? Slasher
is the best subgenre of horror.
That's my girl.
The Howling, Evil Dead, American Werewolf in London, and Friday the 13th.
13.
Rob and I agree with all those. I will
100%.
In the A category, Happy Birthday to Me, which I wish I would have made it go. I can't, but it should be a go. Dead and Buried, which is a fantastic slow burn. Looker, which was ahead of its time, and Halloween 2, although Rob disagrees, thinks that should be a go.
I think so, yeah.
I still think the first one's better. Unlike Friday the 13th, where I do, because they're two separate killers.
Yeah.
As far as
we agreed on that.
The C final countdown, I would have given it. If it had been C for me, but I had to disqualify myself because I don't like the film.
Yeah.
So Rob gets the call on that one. On the F, Deadly Blessing, way too ambitious. Wes Craven put too much in. Nothing really worked out. The Boggins, a nice little tribute to the horror films, the monster movies in the 50s and 60s, just didn't deliver with the cutest monster you've ever seen. Which I wonder if that inspired Critters and Ghoulies too.
Oh,
and Funhouse, which was Toby Hooper's Hooper. Oh, man, it could have been so much better. It could have. That's one of those ones where it could have been, should have been, could have, would have, should have.
Yeah.
The Z's and Seminoid, unless you just want to torture yourself. Saturday 14. If you want to know what not to do with comedy, and Wolfen, just watch Cujo. It's a better movie.
Yeah.
That's a GOAT anyway.
Yep.
So that is our.
That's it.
Count.
81.
Right, so not too bad. Let's talk about a couple things that are coming up. We will be at Kannapolis MicroCon on August 2nd, 2025. It's the first year that they're doing it. I think Rob's going to be joining me on this one. He didn't join me in the last one, but he's joining me on this one.
I think I will join you on this one.
Let's put ourselves back on the screen. This is run by Beardy Witties, who runs Concord MicroCon, which is awesome. I did the first year I did them was this year. It was fantastic. We will be there doing, we'll be promoting your It, and we will also be doing green screen photos for cosplayers, which we do. If you check out Beyond Hero Productions, you'll see our green screen photos. So very cool there. So check them out. It's Kannapolis MicroCon on Facebook. They don't have a website. Charlotte Comic-Con is coming up on August 17th. This is the best one-day show in the Carolinas.
It really is.
It's in the Embassy Suites in Concord, in Charlotte, in Concord, North Carolina. They call it Charlotte Comic-Con. This is one of the few real Comic-Cons.
Yes.
Kannapolis MicroCon is very similar. The majority of the vendors you're going to find at these are comic book vendors who carry Golden Age, Bronze Age, Silver Age, all different ages. Mm-hmm. The classics as well as the newer stuff. A lot of stuff that's hard to find. Dave and Rick, who run the show, run an amazing show. We've been there for a long, I think over 10 years. Probably longer than that.
2015, yeah, I think it's a little over 10 years now.
It's 10 years, at least 10, 11 years. It's where I first started selling my books, my self-published novels, and Dusk, and Devil's Daughter, and You're It, Story Sister Cinema, all that. We were out there.
And where he first met his best.
That's right, Rob. Sorry, I met Rob, my best friend.
He was scared shitless by me when he first met me.
That was the smell. That was one of the best things is I met Rob there and his beautiful wife Brandy and their son Bryce. We run a cosplay contest there. We do free green screen photos. It's a fantastic con. CharlotteComicCon.com. And the great thing is $5 admission. Kids 12 are free. And it's one of the biggest vendor rooms you've ever seen.
It is a huge vendor room.
Huge vendor room. So check that out. And then, this is the big one. We'll be going to Mad Monster. Mad Monster is the best horror con in the nation.
It is.
I love Fear Fest, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But Mad Monster is the best. Tony and his team have been
Never
so
been to Fear
good to
Fest. I
us.
would love to.
Tony's
great.
who's one of the partners of Mad Monster, also runs a distribution company. Guess what he's distributing, Rob?
You're it.
So we're gonna have a big presentation of You're It there. We're gonna have the Blu-rays for sale. We're gonna be. We're actually gonna have our slasher there in full regale at Mad Monster Expo on the 22nd and 24th in Charlotte, North Carolina. Let's take a look at there. David Arquette, Kevin Durant, Kevin fucking Durant. Abigail, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, The Strain, Clown of the Cornfield, X-Men Origins Wolverine. Who did he play? Oh, he played the Blob.
Corey Feldman again.
Corey fucking Feldman. Edward Furlong.
Wow.
Yep. Pam Grier. I definitely need her. Doug Jones. I loved him in What We Do in the Shadows. Quinn Lord. Who did Quinn Lord play, Rob?
I don't know.
Sam from Trick or Treat.
Oh, okay.
Adrian King, Monica Keene, Jameson Newlander, Soraya will be there. Brooke Smith from Silence of the Lambs.
Silence of the Lambs in the pit.
In the well. But they got a killer lineup. So check out madmonster.com. And then Greenville Comic Con is on August 9th.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie Deason will be there from Greece and from Dexter's Laboratory. Matthew Ashley, Karen Whitfield, the Bronze Age Batgirl. Karen used to travel with Adam West and Burt Ward when they were doing their as Batgirl.
You know who else will be there?
Rob Cochran. He'll be there. We'll be there. And it's in Greenville, North Carolina. It's a fantastic con. This is our
great con.
We love it. We run the cosplay contest, green screen photos. And last but not least, we got Power Comic Con.
Power in September.
That's in September.
Another fantastic con.
September 13th. Yep, phenomenal. It's in Florence, South Carolina at the Florence Convention Center. Again, another true Comic Con. If you're looking for comics or toys, this is your con. So that's our plugs. Let's take a look at the trailer. What do you think, Rob?
Let's look at it.
This is it. This is the one. It's about stopping this madman.
So what are we supposed to do? But don't you get it?
It's the same game. I know I failed y'all before. Please, work with me one last time.
He wants to steal away every drop of hope. He wants to see it in their eyes before they die. So all that's left is fear.
I don't know what we're gonna do.
You have got to get yourself together.
I need to stop this.
I am the wrong person to come to for your redemption.
So let's make some magic.
And we are streaming. When are we streaming, Rob? August 12th. And we'll have a list of channels on the Beyond Hero Productions Facebook page. That's why you need to like and follow all of our pages.
Yes, please.
We just ended up on Rumble too. So that's it. So we are going to leave you guys with our intro.
From comic books to TV shows and all things loved by nerds.